meditate on this. The subconscious mind is like a black hole. It's a vacuum. It pulls in everything that crosses its path. The portals or gateways to the subconscious mind exist on the human body, in the human body. Some of them are called ears, some of them are called eyes. And you can receive certain signals and things and messages, etc., through these senses, through these tools for senses, sight, hearing, etc. But no matter what you do, no matter what you put in front of your ears, no matter what you put in front of your eyes, just understand that the subconscious mind is going to receive that and it's going to be embedded within you in perpetuity. It's going to be with you forever. And the people in power know this. The ruling class know this, and they do a damn good job of putting things in there that are not going to lead to quality of thought. It's important that you take control of this and try to embed things with high quality of thought into your subconscious mind, so that when they come back to the surface, when they come back, they pop out on the other side, they're fruitful. The things that are good for you, things that lead to quality of thought. So try to embed good things in your subconscious mind. Now that we know we have to program the subconscious mind, do that consciously, the next question becomes, with what? I believe we need to start with music. Music is very natural. Everybody loves music. They're even treating dementia with music, because music can take you to the past, bring you to memories, the vibe. Everything is just seems to come into focus clearly. It's easily visualized when you put music and have a soundtrack to your life. And so what type of music do we listen to? You know, it's part of our daily ritual. It's part of our daily dealings in programming the subconscious mind. The type of music we listen to is very important. And think about quality of thought. Is your music going to nurture the idea of quality of thought? Or is it ratchet? Is it supremely ghetto? Is it trash? Or is it breathing life into you? Right? It's the difference between listening to, something that's promoting death as to something that's promoting life. Looking at some of the neurological effects that happen when you listen to certain types of music, nourishing the brain with that type of music. The TV shows you watch, the movies you watch. What type of shows do you watch, and how are you inspired by them? What are the images that are being implanted in your subconscious mind from the movies and TV and the media that you watch, from the things you watch on YouTube, etc., etc. If you look at one of those controversial stories about TikTok, I said that Chinese people, or the Chinese Communist Party, whatever, has a different algorithm than the one for the Western nations. The one in the Western nations, the kids are watching videos that go viral, doing pranks and all types of silly stuff. And China's algorithm is showing kids completing puzzles and doing math. These are the things they're promoting because they understand the programming of the subconscious mind is very important for the future of your people and where they're going. So with that same concept in mind, what type of media are you always being influenced by? What type of media do you constantly force yourself to be influenced by? What if we saw images of love all the time instead of images of destruction, war, etc., etc.?
What type of media is Hotep Jesus influenced by?
I like the old stuff. I like the classics. Mostly written work, literature. That's the type of stuff I listen to. I listen to a lot of lectures. One of my favorite lecturers is John Henrik Clarke, Dr. Kaba Kamene. Those are like two of my faves. I like listening to scholarly work, scholarly teachers. I go to bed to to chess videos, but I also need some gangster in my life. You know, I'm not perfect, but I need some, you know, I need some cartel gang member, you know, type programming. This is, you know, that's the stuff I happen to like. You know, I like violent movies. I like heists. I like heist movies, like The Italian Job and Ocean's 11 and, you know, those types of things. I like military movies. Like, I thought the new Top Gun was amazing. But I also try to be conscious of what I'm seeing, and so, you know, what's clear is we're going to come across some content that is not going to nurture quality or high quality of thought. So what we have to do is we have to wrap this stuff with labels. So what you can do is when an image appears before your subconscious mind, what we can do is we can frame it. So when it gets embedded and it gets stored within your mental hard drive, it's filed in a folder, you know, marked bad, marked good, marked to question, marked, you know, you can label these things. So sometimes when things come into our subconscious mind, we don't frame it, we don't put a label on it. I think we have to say, okay, if I'm watching a movie and they're murdering people, let's say for instance, as we're watching this, we got to label that bad. This is bad. This is no bueno, right? And even some labels that your personal opinion might weigh in on, and how you manage this stuff logically. So even though everything is going to be received by your subconscious mind, and some things you may enjoy, some pieces of content you may enjoy, it's very important to frame that stuff and label that stuff. So when it gets into your subconscious mind, your subconscious mind knows, okay, this is this and this is that. So it knows clear difference. It's not just sitting there to be sprouted later on in the wrong manner or intent. What is your receptivity? Are you receiving the signals, or are you only transmitting them? You have to tune your inner radio to receive messages, not only send them. Sometimes we get caught up with our conscious mind. Our conscious mind is constantly sending signals out to the universe, to God, to friends, family, etc., etc. But sometimes you have to reset yourself and come back to zero and just say, I'm not intending to send any messages, I'm intending to receive them. I call it no mind. I've spoken about this in the past. I want to open up the mind, enter a state of receptivity, to receive the signals, to be imbued by God. Messages, prescient visualizations, to be omniscient. All these things are made possible by entering a receptive state, by dismissing the world and all of its physicalness, dismissing the world and all of its 3D-ness, dismissing the matrix, forgetting you are of this physical dimension. Dismissing all of that, obviously easier said than done, but moving away from all of these things, dismissing them from their mind. And the easiest way to do that is to actually distract yourself. You have to distract yourself with the senses. It's much easier to enter a state of receptivity when you're out here and you have the breeze blowing against your skin. That's easy to meditate on. When you have the waves you can look at, the seagulls passing over your head, the sun and the way the sun shimmers off the surface of the water, the clouds, the people, all these things, if you allow them to, will open you up to receptivity. They make you receptive. In order to turn off your brain, you got to turn on your 5 senses. Or when I say brain, I mean that conscious mind sending signals and trying to enter a state of receiving the signals. For example, you can't eat and think at the same time. You're either tasting your food or you're thinking. You can't do both at the same time. You can do intervals. You can think and then taste, think and then taste. But while you're tasting your food, the only thing you're thinking about is, this food tastes good. You only think about the food. So sometimes I like to hijack my subconscious when I don't have an environment like this. or hijack the conscious mind with a teaspoon of honey, a tablespoon of honey. That taste completely absorbs your conscious mind and focuses it in because that taste is just so full. So that's another way to hijack the conscious mind and put yourself in a place of receptivity. But the lesson here is remembering that in order to enter receptivity, sometimes you have to distract yourself, but distract yourself with those natural things that exist all around us. Enter a state of receptivity.
Yeah, I can try to get that handled for you. Again, it's only my second day, so if you can give me a second. How am I supposed to do this? How the hell are we supposed to do this by 5 o'clock?
I have no clue.
Is that possible? Hey, do you have the password to... How'd you finish all your work already?
He's not tapped in. How'd you get that done so quick?
They think they're gonna be able to budget that?
It's money. That's money right there, you understand? You guys finished your work 6 hours early?
He's not tapped in.
Yo, it's spicy as shit in sunny spaces. We gonna go to that now. I'll be right back.
2, 1, boom. Hotep Jesus.
Of all the Jesuses I know, he's the Hotepiest. Social scientist and YouTube host, Hotep Jesus.
How the fuck do you get a name like Hotep Jesus?
The one and only Hotep Jesus.
Ryan Sharp, better known to the world as Hotep Jesus.
Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Somebody said, what do you think you are, some kind of Hotep Jesus?
Ooh,
and
that's
I was
good.
Just like, ooh, that's sexy. Yes, I do think I'm Hotep Jesus.
Y'all motherfucking faces saying y'all ain't doing a motherfucking thing. So yes,
Hold on.
I have the right to call out y'all record and to that because I was in every single one of y'all motherfucking faces saying y'all ain't doing a motherfucking thing. So yes, I feel I have the right to call out y'all record and to say you had the power. You had the megaphone. You had the voice. Everything was there. What the fuck did you do with it? And why are we not in a position where you've had it so long that we are not expecting to get the black vote? Can you at least admit your time has been ineffective in what you've been trying to accomplish?
Go ahead, Kim.
Kim Klasick is.
Well, I forgot what I was saying to you, Felicia, which is really unfortunate because I wanted to talk to you. But I don't know if you're talking. Sunny said everybody in this group. I have been very effective in what I've been doing on the ground in Baltimore and in the state of Maryland in general. I know there's people in this group. As I look through the group, I don't think anybody here has ever said slaves on plantation.
Are you going to get the black vote in Maryland? The state of Maryland?
This is going to take time. I think Julian,
are we looking towards the state of Maryland even becoming a little more purplish?
Yes, and I think Julian, he mapped it out very well on how many years it's going to take for something like that to happen in Maryland, and that's why I'm still doing the work.
You had a Republican governor. What are you talking about?
Well, if you knew about our governor, Governor Larry Hogan is not Republican.
You had one, and the black people voted for Hogan.
Hogan wasn't really a Republican. If you look at some of the things that he pushed forward, they're not Republican.
My question again is, and this is my point, and you can keep trying to dodge because you weren't just on the local level. You had the national platform to do so. Come on.
Sonny, you were also on the national level. Sonny, you were also on the national level.
Okay, what did I do on the national level?
I would love to hear you.
What did I do?
I'm listening.
I got kicked the fuck off. I got canceled. I got thrown out. That's what happened to me and I'm not even salty about it. I made my own bed. I know what I did. I know when I went to the White House what I did. I know that shit. I take personal responsibility for what I have done. I'm asking you to take personal responsibility for your ineffectiveness.
I think I've been pretty effective. I've met many people that have run for office because they watched our run in Baltimore and thought that they could also run. And they are black people.
But I will say again, I trust everybody in this room. I trust your intelligence. I trust your ability to hear what y'all are hearing. And yeah, Coach, who we have?
Okay, so I want to make sure, I want to set the room straight a little bit again. Please do not jump in when we have this particular order. I wanted Kim to respond because there were some questions that I had specifically for her. So I'm going to let Kim go ahead. No.
Look, I just say this, right? And I say this out front, right? These are the necessary conversations. These shit's gotta happen. So, Kim, I appreciate you coming in and being 10 tones down and fighting out about it. I still not gonna fucking take it easy on you, just like I wouldn't take it easy on anybody else. But we gotta have the ability to have these fucking conversations and be full-hearted and deep-throated about that shit, standing 10 toes down, because that's the only way we're gonna break this shit. So I'm gonna give that out, because as a host, I feel like it's my responsibility to do so. And I have told everybody on a continuous basis, I want this to be the Thunderdome. I want us to motherfucking be fighting up in here. That's the kind of atmosphere I hope to create. And so I'll just give you the benefit of the doubt for once for actually coming through and participating in the conversation.
And so even with that said, thank you so much, Kim. So I wanted you to finish your question. Then we're going to go to Jimmy. His hand was up. And then we'll figure out the next order. But please, I want to urge you, if you keep interrupting, and I'm not talking to Sunny, you know, we dominate here, whatever. But anybody else in the room, if you interrupt, I'm going to have to remove you from the space because we have other folks who have been trying to join. So please be respectful. Okay, Kim, go ahead. Please finish your response that you had. What I was asking was more so about the conflicting messaging and how, yes, we are seeing some things happening on the ground. And I brought up
basically
Chicago,
they're talking about the black
Atlanta,
vote
with the very little that we
Kim
have
and
been
them are
able
saying
to secure
the
in terms
numbers
of
say,
funding or what have you. And
better
the results
if the
have been there.
black
So
Democrats
one thing
stay
that I
home and
did
don't
with
vote,
the
and Sonny's
grassroots
saying,
work
nah, we
is
need to
I
try and
brought
win the
that to
election.
Twitter and I brought it to Fox News and whatnot, given the grace that God has given. But my message was never, there's just the best scenario for a Republican win is for Black voters not to show up. And so what I'm trying to, and I think you understand this clearly too, Kim, that there is that conflicting message. So when you have somebody like Rob Smith, who had spent so much time on this platform, and my explanation is for the room's sake, especially for those who are trying to who are just joining. When you have a Black Republican who has been on this space for the last few years, all of a sudden now flipping his message to, well, you know, Republicans, the best thing you can expect is for Black people not to show up at all. And then you tag team, Kim, you tag team that, knowing the kind of results that you are getting at that local level. This is where I'm going to push back and ask you, why are you presenting that kind of conflicting message? So that was the context. So I'm going to let you go ahead and share, and then we'll go to Jimmy.
Sure, I appreciate that. And I can answer this very simply. That is because, and you were talking about, I think, more of like the Black voters that don't regularly vote, or some of the independents. There aren't candidates right now that they're excited about. And so that's why, in my view, looking at the numbers for Democrat voters, that is the best scenario. Is kind of like a 2016 when Hillary Clinton didn't show up in Michigan, she didn't show up in Pennsylvania. You had many people not show up at all for her that she was counting on.
Uncle
and so
Hotep
that's
in the
what
house.
I think it is. I mean, you look at the Republican Party, even just the presidential race, I don't hear many Black men that like the ones you're talking about excited about any of those candidates that were on that debate stage. And so I think we also have to have a real conversation with the fact that we don't have candidates that would attract those voters, right? It's like, look, we can push it all day, but if they're not excited about him, if they never voted before, they're definitely not voting now. So that's my point here.
Okay, so what I would say here is this, and this is why I say to those of us who are actually concerned with increasing the Black voter support for conservatism, I have always pushed the idea of selling conservatism, the ideology, rather than endorsing a candidate. This is one of the reasons why I do not accept the Republican candidates as it's being spoon-fed to me. I tell them exactly the ticket that needs to be on or presented for that kind of victory. So the idea is to sell conservatism and not an actual candidate per se, so that when the time eventually comes and there is someone like a Brian Kemp, right, who is running on the ticket, because these individuals have been sold Black conservative politics, they can see for themselves the kind of conservative candidates that will be viable to them. So it's not just, and right now everybody knows, we could go back to this Fox poll that Rob, he quote tweeted, where they showed the support of Trump has increased versus this massive decline of support for a Joe Biden. Lots of people know by now that Joe Biden is not favorable when it comes to Black men. So if we see these numbers, we see these polls coming even from our own conservative platforms, it behooves us as Black Republicans. I identify as a Black Republican for a very strategic purpose. It behooves us not to present a conflicting message that it is impossible or it's not even worth the investment to have these conversations and to sell conservatism to Black voters. Can you concede that? Can you agree with what I'm saying here?
I can agree with you, but my actions speak louder than my words, right? So if I'm saying, and Felicia, I know you do this work on the ground, we do work on the ground as well. And so we're working towards it. But if I'm looking at 2024 versus a 2026 or a 2028, in 2024, I just don't see it happening. I mean, we really missed an opportunity by not having a GOP chairwoman that could help with the messaging, that could bring somebody like you in to help with the messaging. The fact that Rana was reelected, I mean, again, another shot in the foot. You know what I mean? And I understand what you're saying. I'm looking at the reality of the numbers. And I know there's people in this group that have precinct data and they can say, you know, they can talk about this way better than I can. But I appreciate the opportunity to go ahead and respond.
They want to respond, but we have a full room. So
I have a quick question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So you keep pointing back to Rana, right? And Rana being a major factor as to why we are where we are. When did you start campaigning to get the Republicans, and not just the ones in your area, to look at the 168? Did you have a campaign as far as pushing them towards that recognition for that vote?
I think anybody in this room could corroborate with the fact that I've been traveling across this country for free, helping many candidates.
No,
okay? I have my agenda. You might have your agenda, and it might not be the same, and that's okay.
I asked you specifically about the 168 because you specifically keep targeting Rana, and I have my issues with Rana. But my whole point in this about being effective, knowing what you're doing, is if you thought Rana was your biggest impediment because you continuously bring her up like the biggest impediment, why did you not target the 168 to make sure you had a part in making and her not conceding, her not keeping her seat?
Well,
yes, this is live. This is live right now.
I will tell you why I'm asking this, but I'm asking this specifically because after the election was over, the day the election was over, the very first thing I started to do was to start pushing people towards looking at the 168 because the Rana vote was coming up. I don't remember you in that fight at that time. And I pushed through that entire time period where we were teaching everybody because nobody knew what the hell it was or what it stood for or what was happening. And then nobody actually knew until the week of the election.
So if you would like to speak to Harmeet Dillon, that's who we supported. You can go ahead and speak to her. I don't know if what you saw of me doing. Look, I don't expect you to watch everything that I'm doing, but that's fine.
Harmeet Dillon decided to run for the chair, like at the point of okay, we can go back. Let's go back. The 168, for people who don't understand, I want to explain this, because if you're going to blame Ronna for some shit, I want to make sure we understand what we're blaming her for. The 168 are the Republicans that vote for the Republican chairman, right? So it's basically 3 votes from all 50 places and some in our territory areas, and they come together and they vote to keep Ronna. They vote for the RNC chair, right? They get sent into their spaces in around June, from anywhere from May to the first part of July, when they have the state party races and everything. And they get seated. And then they are the ones who actually vote for the RNC chair at the end. And I want everybody to understand this process, because next time, it's 2 years from now, you should not be waiting for the last minute to know who the 168 are. You should know who your 3 representatives are in your state. And it's already too late for you to vote for them, because they already had their elections. These are the people that are in these spots right now are the ones that are going to vote for the next RNC chair. So everybody should be taking the time to make sure they know who their 3 representatives are in the 168, and starting to pressure and do a campaign towards making sure those people are going to vote for the RNC chair that best represents what you want to see happen with your RNC. Because it's one thing to complain about the shit after the fact, when you have done nothing to organize for it ahead of time. You know what I mean, Kim?
I think anybody that knows what my PAC does saw how much we tried in this GOP chairperson race. I would love to hear from Felicia on how her experience was with Ronna. I know that she was doing some kind of work in Georgia when they opened up another center there. It has been very difficult. And I think Scott Pressler's in the room, and there's some others in the room that can also speak to that as well.
Scott ain't getting in this.
I know what Scott Pressler would say. Scott Pressler would say, go after every vote. Don't leave no vote on the table. I watched Scott Pressler for a long time. I never hear Scott Pressler say the best thing we could do is not register people to vote. I never heard Scott Pressler say the main thing we should do is hope people don't participate in the process. I never heard that from him. I hear it from more black faces like you than I would ever hear it from him. So it's not even a matter of race. I'll take Scott Pressler over you, because at least he believes in what the hell he's doing. He's the one that can actually put a pro-black message on his computer and sit in a black area and not even say anything and just let it speak for itself. So yeah, I have no problem with Scott. But I ain't never heard Scott say the best thing he can hope for is that black people don't participate in the process. Now,
I never said black people.
Let's go ahead and go to Jimmy.
Hey, y'all. Yeah, I'm going to echo Goldstein. So it's just bad messaging to hear that we hope that people don't turn out ever. That's especially when you look at circumstances and you look at people like there was a post earlier, and I started thinking about Chicago when those dads were pushing Antifa scum out of their communities. I think about I jumped into Taurine Walker's space yesterday. It was recorded, and the entire room about Jacksonville, they weren't blaming guns. They were advocating for more gun rights while they were blaming the evil that happened there.
Hotep on the mic.
Knowing that they want to secure that right, just like I want to secure that right, makes them allies.
Shout out to the Hotep.
I want as many of those people as I possibly can get. I'll take them over 100 people that are around me right now. You look at the same communities in Chicago, in New York right now that are pushing illegals out of their neighborhoods. They're showing up to their community meetings, their town halls, and they are livid. Those are the people that we need in the party that we should be reaching. Those are the ones that have fire. Those are the people that we want. And to hear like, we hope maybe they don't show up, like even if you're not saying that, that's what the messaging comes across as. And that hurts the whole thing in general. Like, you're going to tell these people that are actual conservatives, like, they hear that message and they're going to resonate it just like we're resonating it. Whether you meant it or not, that's how it's coming off. And those are the people I want. I want those people protecting my rights just like they want to protect their rights. So I see all these different instances, and those are the people we need and want. We grow our numbers, and that's how we secure our freedom. Like, it's not going to happen just by hoping people don't show up. Like, can't happen. So that's all I got. Like, it's frustrating.
Thank you, Jimmy. And if y'all don't know, Jimmy is a national treasure. I love the Jimmy was talking to one of the newer Black Republicans who tried to bring up the BLM rights and all that stuff, and basically asking why would these Black folks allow themselves to destroy Black communities, and he had to check them. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about white conservatives checking these folks and making it real. Let's go over to It's Jeff, and then we are going to, okay. Yeah, we'll go to It's Jeff. Let's see what you have to say, sir.
Who is Jeff?
Yeah, I'll make this quick. Yeah, when it comes to that type of messaging, when you're saying that you should just only hope that Blacks don't turn up to vote, even if you're going to say that's the reality of the situation, it comes across as a defeatist type of attitude to ever say that to conservatives that are literally trying to fight for the community. You can say it's due to statistics, it's due to numbers. Numbers can change. And if there was a time where I know that a lot of people were saying, oh, Donald Trump, he will never become president. I mean, look at the polls, and well, look at the reality of the situation then. So you cannot always rely on numbers all the time as a justification process to not do the work. Because if you keep on saying that over and over again, especially to conservatives who are feeling like, look, they're already disenfranchised as is with the current situation and climate. I mean, you got so many grifters right now. I don't want to even talk about Candace Owens. I even hate saying a name in this. But bottom line is, if you keep on saying that, then what is the point in even trying if it's already doomed to fail? What is the point? What is the point in even fighting if you're already going to say, oh, no point in Blacks showing up because they're already disenfranchised? Does that mean you give up the fight? No. You don't give up the fight, even if it's difficult. And
to add on to that, all you do is prove the Democrats right. When the Democrats say you don't give a fuck, you proving them right? When the Democrats say you're not gonna stand 10 toes down for people, you gonna listen to your consultants. You proving them right. Like every single thing you're like, they say this bad about us, they call us names, and then you turn around and do shit that proves them right. Like what is that? Like what is that? And you again are looking like. And here's the problem. I guarantee you, here's the problem. The concern is not that we can't win Black people. The concern is we can't beat the Democrats, because all of these stats that you're being given, all of these white papers that they put together where they tell you to think about the numbers. And I'll tell you this, anybody that has listened to a conversation with me and Kevin Daniels, you know Kevin Daniels is my number man. So I do the numbers. I know the numbers. I understand the numbers. And I don't have a fight with Kevin all day about the numbers. And certain people, I won't entertain that shit. But I have that conversation with Kevin all the time about the numbers. And me and Kevin fight all the time about the numbers. And being in that position of power where you can actually do something, and you keep telling me, but look at the numbers, but look at the numbers, but look at the numbers. I told the same fucking thing to Kevin. The same thing I'm saying now. So it's not specialized or individualized to a single person. It's to anybody with that mind frame and thought process of just looking at the fucking numbers. And let me tell you why. What these are year-to-year numbers, year-to-date numbers, you know what I'm saying, like that. That's the way they look at it and they access it. So if they haven't gotten the Black vote in 60 years, think about the data that they're looking at. They're looking at data that they have lost the Black vote for 60 years. And they are stipulating how to move forward with data that showed they lost for 60 years. So then someone comes in new and says, okay, how about you stop looking at that data that you keep looking at, that keeps handing you your ass on a silver platter, and you start looking at the people, and you start listening to what they have to say, and you start shaping the message to what they want, and you start feeding them your principles to get it across. You start providing solutions to the shit that they are actually asking about, what they are really talking about. Stop looking at the numbers, and for 5 fucking seconds, look at the people. And then they come to you and say, no, I think I'm going to look at the numbers. They get their ass handed to them, and then they come back out and say, well, I don't think there's any way possible to do this. And nothing in the process changes. They do nothing
Kim,
different.
fight back, Kim.
Nothing,
Kim, fight
like,
back.
Nothing at all.
Fight back,
Everything
Kim.
repetitive, the same. And then they look at the numbers as the numbers continue to accumulate and say, oh, yeah, well,
I agree, Goldstein.
there's no use in doing this. And I'm sorry, what I am saying is, in some of these areas, the Black community has been under Democratic control for 100 years plus.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck do you think the data is going to say? They are under 5, 6, 7 layers of Democrat progressive control. And you want to tell me what the numbers say? No, I know what my people say. I know how my people live. I know what they are going through. And your representation of these numbers don't mean shit. And I'll bring this up again because I want to make sure conservatism also stays front and center in this. Is that idea of the individual. And you cannot read the individual by looking at these numbers.
Yeah, she's
so
going
again,
at
you're not even trusting your own ideology to get you a prescription for victory.
Yep.
So many different ways you can poke holes in this way of thinking, but they keep coming back to, yet again, look, this and this and this and this. Okay, well, where are your Black people? Well, I don't think we can get Black people, so we might want to. So, like Felicia said, with the confusion of messaging, it ain't no confusion of messaging. It's running away from responsibility of saying you failed.
Fight back, Kim. Fight back, Kim.
Who, in 2016, when they did not listen to me and they did not take my messaging, what was the first thing I came out and said?
What should I say, y'all?
I came out and said,
how should I
am
interject
sorry,
into this
guys,
conversation?
I failed.
How do I jump into this
I failed
conversation?
to make them listen. I failed to make them hear. They're not using our messaging. We are not winning in this area. So we are going to have to rebuild and regroup because what we're doing is not working. That's what I did because I admit when I failed.
Can I ask a question?
So what we have done in this time period, we've built this little circle you see here, right? Circle keep growing like a motherfucker, and I'm loving every bit of it. So now in the circle that we have currently built, you have a whole bunch of motherfuckers that's saying, no, we can do this. We can accomplish this. We can win this. We can have these conversations. We can battle it out. We can fight amongst ourselves. We can come out victorious. These people are not smarter than us. They are not wiser than us. We know the rules of the game just how they know the rules of the game. Now we got to teach more people the rules of the game so we have more people fighting on the board. So we're looking at how to grow the shit to make sure we can win the vote. And not only that, disrupt modern day motherfucking politics for when these white conservatives start getting out of pocket so they not stepping on and crushing our message. And then we got to deal with Black faces coming along and say, good golly almighty, I hope the best thing that can happen is Black people not show up. What the hell does that do for us that are actually trying to get Black people to show up? And not just flee from the Democratic Party, but actually look at the Republican Party as something that they can take over long term.
Testing 1, 2.
Given a goal, a marching order, and the perspective, the weaponry, the armory to be able to go in and actually fight this shit. And yet again, what is it? We got to fight with the white faces. We got to fight with the Black faces. just for black people to be appreciated in the process.
Oh, I think I got to refresh.
And
I think I got to refresh to get my mic in there. Hold on.
black faces, just for black people to be appreciated in the process. And it's not ridiculous. That is so freaking ridiculous. I'm so sorry. Adrian been up for a while because I do Hope's prerogative and let Adrian come up.
Yes, yes. And try again.
Hey, what's up, Sonny? Thanks for having me on.
What?
Yeah, I just had a short comment. This is about something that came up. I think it was maybe.
Why is it not letting me in?
And how long it might take to flip certain districts. So I understand that, you know, I think the numbers state that depending on which district you're in order to flip a blue district, you need to invest money in urban areas, and it's going to take up to 2 full election cycles. So we're looking at about a span of 8 years, which is almost an entire decade, to be able to make a measurable impact in a lot of these areas. However, when it comes to President Trump specifically, he seems to operate differently than Republicans in general when it comes to black support and polling numbers. And there's new data out just this week that shows that as of right now, President Trump already has 20% black support for the 2024 presidential race. And we know from previously reported information and data analysis that if Democrats lose 20%, that it's impossible for them to win a presidential election. So
Felicia,
it
add me
is
to the
entirely
stage.
within the scope of possibility that next year black Americans can hand President Trump a win. It's not going to be something that takes multiple cycles. He's already building the grassroots support. So that's the only point I wanted to raise.
Thank you. Thank you. For those of you who have already been able to speak, we have some folks who are trying to join the stage, but because the stage is full, we're not able to accept them. So I'm going to drop a couple of you who have already spoken.
Come on, put me back
up.
up.
Let's go ahead and go back to Jeff. Save. Did you finish your thoughts,
No,
sir?
bring Hotep Jesus up.
No, not yet. I was just also going to say that with the messaging, it's right. It's literally just quality over quantity. If you keep on making a quantitative argument saying that it's because according to the poll, we don't think we can do this or do that, I'm telling you, you've already lost the battle before you even won it. You already lost that because frankly, at this point, black people are not necessarily statistics. They're not. If you actually care about conservatism, which I hope you do, you cannot use that as a justification process. There's no middle ground to say, well, we want a couple things here, we want a couple things there. There's no middle ground with this. It's either you win it or you don't. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I'm going to drop you so we can invite some other folks to join the stage. Let's go over back to Sophia, and then I'm going to let you speak very briefly before we drop you.
Check my
Not
check
a problem.
your request,
Thank you so much,
Felicia.
Felicia. But you said, you and Sonny have said the critical thing. We got to go make sure people vote. We got to make sure that we link up with people like Scott Pressler that just wants to get.
I had my mic in the wrong feed.
Watch Kim's video and saw her walk through the streets of Baltimore, and I thought about my people in Philadelphia. Same circumstance.
Oh, she about to
but I also saw what they saw, opportunity creeping up in Philadelphia when the opportunity zone money started going out. They started building. But they didn't understand that that opportunity was being given by the president that is now being persecuted. They didn't know that. So who's going back there to bring that message? When I reach out to people, I reach out and I said, we got to go back. When I reached out and said, Donald Trump, I know they're not going to hear my voice because it's small.
Here we go.
You don't want them showing up
Testing
and
one,
then
two.
being
Testing
able to
one,
do
two.
nothing.
Oh,
Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and let's see.
Testing 1 2 1 2. You can't hear me? Can you hear me, Felicia?
Yes, I can hear you now, sir.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I got a question for Kim. So I just want to know from Kim, do you think we can win the black vote at all? And how would you go about winning that vote? What are some, ideas that you have in mind, or some tactics, strategy, et cetera, that you think we can use to win the black vote?
I appreciate the question. Just so you know, I am at work, so I'm not going to be going back and forth the whole time. But yes, we can win the black vote. It is possible. I love the fact that we have many more black people running for office, especially at the local level, whether it's school board, whether it's state senators, delegates, and then on the federal level as well.
I got the mic working.
The more people that you have that are from different backgrounds running for office, they're also running that same message of, look, we can do this. And so even though some people might look at it as a failure in some ways, I think coming off of 2020, we made a lot of wins and there were a lot of successes. And I'm never going to look at my campaign as a failure because it woke a lot of people up. A lot of people ran off of seeing, what we did. And I'm very proud of that. And, if people don't like what they see me do online, that's one thing. But, a lot of people aren't in Baltimore.
Well, some
and they
people
don't know what I do on the grass.
I think on the national
level.
level, some people are looking at many of the black influencer faces that are forward facing, like Candace Owens and a lot, you, Rob Smith, whatever. And some people are saying it's a failure. What grade would you give yourselves? And again, what tactics and strategies would you use to win the black vote? Because to me, it seems like the black vote is a layup. Like getting it seems really easy. I'm just trying to figure out why we're struggling to do that. So what grade would you give you, yourself, the rest of the black conservatives? And then how do you think you can go about winning the black vote?
Well, I will say that me and Candace Owens are nothing alike. And that's why we ended up fighting with each other because of the things that she says, the Democrat plantation, all this other stuff, Juneteenth is fake and all this other shit. And that's why I ended up fighting with her about it, right? Because when we go knock on doors, the first thing they say to us is, we're not voting Republican. And what's that, Candace Owens, right? They use some of these names that they see and hear on a regular basis. And so that messaging has already turned them off. And so, even just knocking doors in 2020, you would think you could knock a door, hand some literature. Hey, I'm a Republican. Here's where we stand. I mean, there were some doors where we were standing there for 20, 30 minutes trying to convince them that not all black Republicans are like Candace Owens and some of the others that use that kind of language. And so that's why I'm going to say it's still going to take time, but absolutely
what grade,
it's possible.
what grade would you say the lot of black conservatives would get?
If black
Yeah, in totality.
Are doing a lot more work than you would ever see, right? Whether it's social media or in the media. So, anybody that's even just trying, I guess I would give them an A because it's difficult. It is very tough out here. And like I said before, getting the black vote is going to be talking to each black voter face to face on a grassroots level, similar to what Felicia was talking about earlier. Just really having that conversation.
Well, what do you think is the I understand the on the ground approach, but what do you think is the correct messaging to black voters? Because it seems like that's the big thing. That's high level. That's what's going out through GOP representatives, conservative grifters, black conservatives, whoever. This messaging is what's important. What do you think is the correct messaging when speaking to, I guess, specifically black men?
Yeah, it's a tough one. And this is what we struggled with during the campaign because the messaging to, a minority voter, whether it's black, Hispanic, whatever, that messaging doesn't work with the donor base, right? And so if you're relying on donations from, maybe middle America, white America, they don't understand some of the messaging that you're putting out, right? So then you're explaining to them the point you're trying to get across. There's definitely a disconnect. There's a huge disconnect. And as I mentioned to Sonny earlier, I ran in District 7, which was Howard County, Baltimore County, and Baltimore City. My district did not match whatsoever. It was gerrymandered. It was not supposed to be drawn that way. So I had, upper class white Americans.
Sanaa,
and also you've got, those below poverty line in Baltimore City, all in one district. And it was very difficult. And that's why I said the messaging almost has to be on an individual basis.
An individual basis? I don't know. I think there could be some high level messaging to the black community that would specifically target black men.
Maybe if you're talking about entrepreneurship, business, innovation, all those things go, for everyone, right? You're talking about the economy, things like that. But I think, and don't correct me if I'm wrong, when you're talking about black male voters in particular, I mean, they probably want to hear more, I would think, on different levels, because you got some black people that believe, and it could be true in many cities, where they're not getting the same opportunities when it comes to getting a small business loan, right? Or same opportunities, and that's true in Baltimore City, as getting a small business loan if you were white or had a family with a different kind of credit score. And so the messaging is still a little different, but yeah, if we could focus on business and things like that, I think that would do well.
Sonny, how would you respond to Kim in that case? And is she on point? Is there anything missing? Do you think there is a broader message to black men? That's what I'd love to hear you weigh in on.
You just got me in trouble with my husband, Hotep. I'm mad at you now.
My bad.
I'm mad at you now. You just got me in trouble, right? Because now
What'd he do?
he looking at me like, why can't you be like that? Why can't you do it like that? Why can't you be nice to Kim? He over here giving me that side eye, that suspicious look because of what you just did right there. So I want to let you know, you fucking up
Not a black man breaking
My
up a black
bad.
family. Just joking.
you fucking up my home life, Hotep.
No,
My
we
bad.
support black families in this space. I hope that helped.
All right, so here's my oh my god, I forgot what you said.
So no, I don't know. So I was basically talking to Kim about black outreach. I think there's a lot of things we could talk about at the top level, and what are the main issues that we can use at the top level that resonate with specifically black male voters, and maybe your response to Kim. I think Kim is probably close to the truth there. I don't know. You guys are the experts.
I wanted to respond again. I want you to look at the people that I held in high regard. The people that I held in high regard are the consultants and the donor class and the da-da-da and the da-da-da. You get what I'm saying? This is what I want you to understand when it comes to these campaigns and when they're in this, what they're looking at. And again, the reason that everything has to be individualized the way it's laid out is because they lie in public, and then when they're like, okay, we want to go in front of we go in front of the white crowd and we say what we need to say for the white people to give us the money, right? So now they can't go in front of a black crowd and say what they want to say, because then the white people are going to be looking at them like they're crazy. And again, this isn't specific to a single person. This is everybody that I mentor, they all have to fucking learn this lesson the hard way, because they believe, oh, I have to play the game. I have to participate a little bit. And I'm sitting there like, you don't have to participate a little bit. You can go in it and be authentic, be yourself, and give white people the exact same message that you're going to give black people. And tell them the truth. And then when they hear you say it to black people, they won't be surprised. And see, that's the problem when you have these black faces who have no problem going around giving these people tingles up their damn leg. And then when one of us come behind and say something real, these white people start looking at them like, protect us, defend us, and here they come jumping out the box like Jack in the Box. Like, that's what we are dealing with. And that's why we constantly get back to this point time and time again, where there is this very clear separation between the black faces and those of us who actually practice black conservatism, right? And in that you will say, well, Sonny, you have to care about the donors. Sonny, you have to care about the this, you have to care about the that. No, I don't. Because for you to get any of that solidly, religiously, and truthfully, and righteously, you must first have the people. If you don't have the people, then the donors can extract what the fuck they want to extract. But when you have the people, then you are able to say to the donors, this is what we are doing, and we have the power to squash, to do, to blah, to blah. Are you going to work with us to accomplish what we need to accomplish? Instead of coming in and saying, oh, well, please give us this money and we'll tap dance for you. We'll make sure that the biscuits got butter. Like, that is not the way you walk in. And again, specifically, this is not targeting Kim. This is a whole lot of them. right? And that's what you don't want to tell white people the truth up front. And then when you go behind and you try to talk to black people and the white people start looking at you crazy, you can't understand why. It is because you are lying to them. And I had this conversation in the space a couple of days ago because I had this conversation with AK out in Vegas where he said the exact same thing. Like, I'm trying to work with these people. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. And then when I go to do this,
it was supposed to be a
they
short
looking
Grift
at me
report
crazy.
today.
And I'm like, they're looking at you crazy because you lied to them. You over there like, I'm trying to play the game, so I'm going to say what you want to hear. I'm trying to play the game, so I'm going to get in where I fit in. And then when you go to do the work, you can't do the work because the white people looking at you like, what the fuck? Because that's not what you said to them when you had their presence. Put it this way. If I came out and I decided to support a candidate, right? And I said, my only message is going to be for black men. That's all I'm going to do. Totally focus on black men. Nobody will bat an eye. You know why nobody will bat an eye? Because that's what I've always done. Ain't no white conservative or no white Republican gonna bat an eye. Because they're going to be like, that's what the fuck Sonny has always done. And if you start having more black faces that do it consistently and without failure and without cease, then you don't have to individually talk to white conservatives and Republicans about what the fuck we're saying out of our mouths. They will start to see it collectively as a group. But instead, what do they see collectively as a group? The best thing we can hope for is that black people don't show up. And then they cannot figure out why, for the life of them, black people are looking at them like, uh-huh.
Can I hop in right there? I just want to intersect really fast and try and pass the mic to Kim and get some clarification because I'm an idiot. I don't know what the fuck's going on. You guys are the experts here. Kim's obviously. Shut up, Sonny. Shut up, Sonny.
Undefeated.
Calm down, Sonny. Hold on a second. Kim, you're obviously behind the scenes. You see a lot more than me. You know, it did come off like, you know, you guys got to tap dance to the donor base. Is the donor base in control? Do we have to tap dance and get the butter biscuits for the donor class? Is Sonny right in that? Like, it seems like the donor class is calling the shots here. Is that true, Kim?
So I can't speak for all candidates. I can tell you my message was the same message the entire time. I mean, our ad went viral, right? You can't change a viral message. But what I will say is, unfortunately, and this is why I kept bringing up the GOP chairwoman, you've got people in the Republican Party working against people like myself and other minority candidates or even America First candidates, those that aren't even minorities, because you've got individuals. I mean, if you look at the McCarthy's PAC, if you look at Ronna McDaniel, how much money they spend, whether it's in the primaries or the generals, against people that cannot easily be controlled by them, I think then you can really see where a lot of this is coming from. We're not just up against the Democrats. Many of us are also up against the establishment Republicans.
But do we really have to compromise our message to black people to appease the donor base? Is that really truly a thing?
That's not compromise it, and I might not have the same message as you, Hotep. You know what I mean? So what your message might be for black males, which probably is more spot on considering you're a black male, might not have been the message that I had, right? I mean, all I could do was trust the black males that worked on my campaign, which predominantly our entire campaign was run by black people, right? So it wasn't like I was out here looking for white people to help us in our race. We were looking for people that we thought could relate in some of the areas of the district that we knew were going to have a hard time.
But you did say the messaging has to change or something to that effect. You did say that the messaging has to change from the donor base to blacks.
It's not resonating. It's not.
What's the difference in the two messages? What's the message for the donor base? What's the message for the donor base, and what's the message for the? And I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to get clarification. What's the message to the donor base? What's the message to the black base or black men? And how are the two different?
Well, I think there's a lot of difference. Unfortunately, look, a lot of the GOP, let's be honest, and this is what people have been talking about in this room since I've gotten in here. right? A lot of the GOP party is kind of like the old white establishment. And if you look at the amount of money that they bring in, and we got the same donor list.
What's the
Every
messaging,
time you
Kim?
donated to my campaign, you use WinRed. WinRed is owned by RNC. Every time somebody donates $100 to me, a certain percentage of it goes to the RNC,
That's
right?
fine.
And so
That's fine.
even they're spitting out different messages than I am with my face on it.
Yeah.
They're called rev share emails.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of components that's behind the scenes. So you might see one message from me, but then there's another message from the GOP, but you might think it came from me when really it's theirs.
Well, I really want to focus on you since we have you here. What is the messaging to the donors, and how do you change that for Black voters or Black male voters? What is the message to I want to know, what's the message to donors, and how is it different to Black people?
Well, Black males, Black females, it doesn't even matter. I think many Black people are spot on when they say the Republican Party doesn't seem to care about Black people. That's spot on, has always been, right? But if you say that to a white vote or donor and voter, if they believe that that's not the case because they're not that kind of person, they might take it some kind of way. And if you have a message, Hotep, for all, where it works for all, I'm all ears. I'll just tell you right now, it is very difficult to do. It's very challenging. And when I talk to people that were with my PAC, this is the number one problem they had. And that comes from Darius in New Jersey, Billy Primpe in New Jersey. All these people in very blue cities had the same issue.
But Kim, I don't think you have to go to the...
Hold on 1 second. Okay, so I went to CPAC, all white audience, gave pro-Black message, got standing ovation from the white people in the crowd, but got canceled by CPAC. So I took the exact same message I would take to Black people. I took that exact same message to white people at CPAC, and I got a standing ovation for it. So I don't understand the necessity to separate your messaging if your messaging is on point. Now, do you get? Will that get you canceled by the upper echelon of the Republicans? Yes, but should we not, as Black Republicans or conservatives who understand this is our goal and mission, then say that is fucking unacceptable and focus our attention at that point, since that seems to be where the barrier is? So again, that's why you have this pushback from me, because I understand there is that separation, and they will cancel you and kick you out and shit if you actually go up and have a pro-Black message. But the reason that continues to happen so much is because they can have Black faces that will get up there and tap dance. And as long as they can get those people up there, then they don't actually have to listen to the people that actually have a message that's pro-Black.
Well, I will say, Sonny, there's a reason why I've never spoken at CPAC or been invited to CPAC. The same people that canceled you would love to cancel me. If you look at some of the things that Candace Owens said to me, even in the deposition in the courtroom, a lot of it came from those same people that tried to cancel you. It's unfortunate, and you're fighting an uphill battle on both sides. And so I think you understand where I'm coming from on this. It's complicated. It is. It really is complicated. And it's sad that we have to deal with the upper echelon, as you called it, in the Republican Party, but they're there and they're powerful.
Let's simplify it, because I think I simplified it. See, is my NPR voice appropriate, Hotep? I'm gonna go NPR so my husband can stop looking at me like a God, I forgot what I was gonna say there. Y'all fucked me up. Oh, this is real annoying with him sitting over my shoulder. When it comes to, and my whole point that I want to drill down on is the fact that the reason that it is complicated is because you have the people that make it complicated. It is very, very simple. There are three things that I said at CPAC. Three things that I said at CPAC is the idea of the individual, the idea of the republic, and the idea of the Constitution. White people understand that. White people understand that clearly. Now, let's see what that means for Black people. This is what it means for Black people. That's the only, it's not that hard. It is not hard to do it, right? And of course, it is a message that white conservatives and Republicans have not heard before, right? So that's why it sounds foreign to them. So again, that's the reason why I repeat, when there are more of us that are spreading that message consistently, then more white people start to get it. The thing that stops us from being able to spread that message consistently is when you have Black people that like to tap dance and they want to feed them the tingle instead of feeding them things that are effective. And then when you ask them questions about it, it's like, oh, it's complicated. It is really not complicated. Again, saying it, standing ovation, the white people ate it up. Now you get them and you actually have Black people that are listening and you make a consistent message. It's not that difficult. But when you're not looking at it from that side of the equation, where you're not looking at it from grassroots, you're not looking at it from people, you're looking at it from donors, from white pages, from consultants, you don't see the vision or the pathway forward because those numbers on the paper tell you that it's impossible. And that's what you're facing right now. People who actually have vision versus people that want to make sure that the game continues to play the way that it's played. I'm not interested in the game being played the way that it's played. The way that the game has been played, the Republican Party has lost the Black vote by 90% for over 60 years. You ain't telling me that you're going to continue to play this game this way and you're going to get a different result. That is the definition of insanity. So if you have that complete understanding, why are you looking at the same exact formula that caused them to lose all of that time? And then say it's complicated, why it won't change. It's not complicated.
I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to go ahead and let other people speak, because I know there's lots of people who want to speak. If anybody else has run for office and you have been able to accomplish that, I would love to look at that blueprint. If you have not run for office as a Republican, I don't understand exactly how you can tell me something different if you haven't been in that hot seat. Because I've been in there, I've been in the fire, I've been in front of voters, I've been in front of donors, and I've done it for other candidates as well. It is a different game when you're really in the seat. Hotep, Sonny, I don't even know if you guys have run for office in the past. I honestly don't know, but let me tell you right now, it's easier said than done. And I thank you guys for the time.
Well, my thing is, thank you, Kim, appreciate you, and I love you. My thing is, I've been in situations where there has been a heated debate about reparations, and going into the conversation, reparations, the chat of these live streams have been against me. And by the time I got finished speaking, I had white people supporting my messaging around reparations. And it's just like, it took me 15 minutes to come up with that messaging. And to me, it's just really weird because it looks like the messaging can be the same to the donor class and Black men. Cut taxes, free up the money, and allow capitalism to proliferate. That's a big thing amongst Black men. I don't think we have to mention to Black people, hey, guess what? The Republican Party doesn't care about you. It seems like a waste of time. And like you said, it would infuriate the donor class. To me, I think we should just focus on, the main thing, the top of the platform, which is money. Black men care about money and Black men care about guns. With those 2 points, I don't see how the messaging can't just be shared between those two parties, or better messaging created. I think, creating messaging that resonates with both, should be quite easy.
Hey, Miss Sonny.
I just want you to know I owe you Hotep.
Hey, can I just give me like 30 seconds, God.
It's a revenge for you. Go ahead.
Miss Sonny, I'm gonna get out y'all hair because I can't even listen to music on my phone because I've been listening to this space so much. I really want to say though, y'all niggas is real deal, no rhino shit in here. I love this, but it's very refreshing to hear people who look like me who have these same sentiments. And I definitely think y'all been sharpening each other's iron. Kimberly, Sonny, Felicia, y'all, it's Hotep Jesus, whatever your name is. Y'all been sharpening each other iron. Okay, it's no don't nobody in here sound like Candace Owens. I'm gonna say it like that, because that bitch pretty much. We know about that bitch, right? But like everybody in here being 100, and we really been having like real discourse. We know what we talking about. It ain't even been no white people in this space too tough. It's been like other people who came up. Maybe one white guy came up, but for the most part, it's been niggas talking about conservatism. So I really appreciate y'all, and like I followed all y'all. I really appreciate all y'all, and I'm gonna find me something to eat and mind my business. But man, I really appreciate.
Hey, Kim, if you need somebody in messaging, you know what I mean, I'm not expensive. You know what I'm saying? Holla at me, we can figure something out, baby. I'll definitely get some good messaging for you.
Hate you.
Yeah, I just but for real, I didn't even look at your before I jumped in here. I didn't even look at Sonny bio. I didn't know you hosted a radio show on XM radio like that. Like, so you really talk about this shit on a satellite radio platform.
Yeah, she does.
Man, look, I really appreciate all y'all. Kimberly, you keep doing. Hey, find out how them niggas can turn the block into a buyable real estate place, because West Baltimore do need that. I love The Wire, and when I watch The Wire, I look at those homes those people stay in. That has a lot of real estate potential. So like, just figure that shit out. Like, y'all really doing the work, man. Like, for real talk. Like, nobody said no like Uncle Tom ass sellout ass points, which is what they try to like say. Oh, you're a black conservative. You're a coon, and like. Bitch, you like the bitch who eat children in Haiti. You a coon. What the fuck you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all really, because these niggas act like we coons for not being Democrats, but they literally support people who fuck children and eat them. So they got to talk about that on their side too. So like, I really just I learned a lot from y'all. I've been listening too. I have been driving to the store getting more beer and shit like that, but I have been listening, and this is great talk radio. Like it was on the radio. I feel like this is like an AM station. And I really want to say, y'all, I hope y'all have a good day, man. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to talk to y'all later.
Beloved. Thank you. Blessings to you, beloved. Corey, we see you on the stage.
We do this for them.
Hey, am I in there? What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? Sonny, Felicia, Hotep, everybody that I know in here. What's going on? I just want to say, to those that ran for office, I see Sister Kimberly. I met her at the Solutionary Summit down here in Atlanta a few years ago.
Man.
And I see the other sister in here in the room from Florida. This is what I think is a problem when it comes to messaging, especially to the black community. Y'all always show the worst of us. For example, those videos, those introduction videos that went viral, it was just the worst of who black people are. And that ain't who us in a long shot. So once again, I'm not gonna be long, 'cause I'm here at work and I'm cheating, I'm getting paid for listening to y'all and participating. But stop showing the fucking worst of us. Show the greatness of us, and I guarantee you that message will resonate a lot more with black people. Love y'all.
We love you, Corey. Let's go over to some new hands, and then we will go back to Davio back on the stage, and then Carbon. So let's go to TM.
Hey, thank you for having me back. I really appreciate it. Was here a ways back and tried to get back sooner, but because you have some great energetic spaces. I can feel it. This is a numbers game. At the end of the day,
shit. Here he goes.
Conservatism, I can tell you, I don't like the way that we label things. I think the word conservatism has just lost its value if you look at it through the lens of politics, because everyone in the Republican Party claims to be conservative, from whatever, McCain, Romney, all of them, okay? And they've lost what it means. And I think that's why Donald Trump came in and was able to get a good-sized following of frustrated people. Because unfortunately, we have two choices in this country, Republican and Democrat. There are other choices. Staying home is one of them, but that is absolutely absurd. Addition by subtraction is never a winning strategy. And anyone who thinks it is, it reminds me of watching a football game and they go into prevent defense. You prevent yourself from winning. And anybody who pushes that is just not in it for the right reasons. But I do want to say, basic conservatism, the way I see it, totally separate from a political affiliation or party. I don't even like calling myself a Republican. Conservatism is, for me, starts with God, man, woman, child, family, men are men, women are women, all the way down to that family, the way I want to live my life. I want to have the money in my pocket. I don't want to hand it to the government. But I can feel for Kimberly. She's, any grassroots politician who's trying to, as Donald Trump is finding out, and it's not just the Republicans, it's both parties. He's trying to upend them, and boy, they're coming at him guns blazing. And it sounds like it happened to you, Sonny. I mean, you're not going to change this apparatus, but you have to remember it's based on money and power. And, power gets money, money gets power. We, and I just mean we as the people, like the Constitution states, we own this government. We have to use our money and our power to take it back. And that's not an easy task at all. But the best way that they see it for us not to accomplish that is to divide us as many different ways as they can. The more that we're at each other's throat, we're not turning our ire towards them. And I'll kind of land it here. Felicia, I didn't get to speak last time, but I love the way you analogized or you gave the rundown on the elections in Georgia. And folks, it is a numbers game. We need each other. Conservatives, we need each other. It's about numbers. If nobody's winning without the numbers. And I like the way that you went through Georgia and you talked about how the numbers just, weren't there. We have to garner the numbers. And I can promise you, once we start garnering the numbers, they're going to come at us harder. Because that, I'm sorry, I'll land it there. I think I'm starting to ramble. I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity.
You can't hear me? I want to ask you a quick question. How do you win numbers?
The way I win numbers is you start at the bottom, you go into communities. I've been saying this for years to the Republicans. Go into the communities and talk to people about what matters. What matters to me, I'm sure matters to you.
You know what?
I'm sorry.
Numbers. You can win numbers by sourcing white papers. You can create the numbers you want by gathering the statistics that you want to paint the picture that you want. You can grow numbers by simply accessing your ability to think tank. See, these are where all of these numbers come from. And you don't win numbers, you win people. And if your mindset is again on numbers, and not that I have to actually fellowship with people. I'm going to go here to win numbers. I'm not going to go here for voluntary association. I'm going to go here for my political needs, not because I want to get generational ideological change that doesn't go away.
We're going to get to...
still do not understand why you don't connect with anybody. Right, and it doesn't matter.
We're gonna get to the phone calls in a little bit. I'm sure this space will end shortly, and we'll open up phone lines and weigh in. I have to rename this stream, but this is good.
60 years now. What the fuck have you? What have you conserved in the 60 years you've been looking at those numbers? What did you save? What did you defend? What did you stop from becoming fractured? In those 60 years of you looking at those white papers and you looking at those numbers, you never figured out how to bridge the gap to Black America? The numbers never told you that in the last 60 years you've been looking at? And your answer is still to look at the numbers? And that does not denote insanity to you? I do not understand. I do not understand this thought process. When you actually believe you can continue to do the same thing and get different results. I do not understand the rational way of thinking.
Can I pose a question to somebody on the stage here?
Hold on. Can I respond?
I'm
I think
trying
she
to
was
help
directing
you,
that at
bro.
me.
Oh, Lord.
No,
Go ahead.
I'm-
All right, fine. Go ahead.
I don't need help. Yeah, thanks. So I appreciate it. Okay, fair point. I guess numbers to me are people. Okay, I look at Scott Pressler. What he's doing, he's going out and he's getting people. The numbers I'm referring to is what it takes to have an agenda and win that agenda. I am all for the conservative agenda. I am all for it, but we have to have the numbers of people, Sonny, of people. And I agree. Every person has a individual situation, but at the end of the day, every person has to make a decision on election day.
About to tear his head
And
off.
we have to, I think the conservative message, that's why I've broken away from the Republican Party. Conservative doesn't mean, and I don't know what white papers or whatever that is, I don't even listen to what any of them have to say. I was impressed and I was inspired by an outsider who came in with a club, and he took a club to the system, because that's what needed to happen, and we need to remake this together. We all need each other. All these people, we need each other in this fight. You're not going to win it with people. Okay, sorry.
Based on Trump. Let's do this based on Trump, right? So your thing is, you voted for an outsider that came in and smashed everything that the Republicans were saying before, and that's what made you want to support him. Did black messaging, was that included in what was smashed? Because the way I see it, and you tell me if I'm wrong, you destroyed all of these talking points and all of these other areas, and the only ones that remained the same were the ones that were focused towards black people. So everything else changed. All the old messaging was out, but the only part of the old messaging that you kept were the derogatory notions towards Black America. So Trump comes in, and Trump goes in front of national TV in the White House at a big jump and says, Black people built America. Right? In that space. That's Trump messaging. That's Trump. Outside of what Trump said, all of their outsourced outreach, being their other black faces, they were out saying something completely different. Trump was like, Black people built America. They were out saying Black people still on the plantation. So even then, Trump's messaging and how he was looking to and talking to Black people were different than what the Republicans and what the Black faces in the Republican Party were doing. Because even during that time, we were saying, if Trump keep talking about Black people and he got his faces to shut the fuck up, it would be a lot easier for us to be able to push the messaging, because Trump was actually saying shit that people were happy to fucking hear.
Yeah.
And that was the insert to get us to where we could have actually started in pushing forth these conversations. But outside of Trump himself saying that, all you had was a bunch of symbolism. All you had was a bunch of photo ops. You didn't have no follow through. You didn't have no anything. And that's all it was. And then when it fails, it again becomes Black people's fault, not the Black people that were actually in positions and did nothing with it. And that's why I keep pushing back so hard when it comes to this. You know what I'm saying? Is that the reason that it seems like it's so hard or it's so difficult is because you keep having people that go in there and they play this fucking game and they want to appease people like UTM, the numbers. I'm sitting here like, Yo, the numbers say that you have lost this vote by 90% for 60 years. How about I tell you to look at the numbers and sit down, shut the fuck up, and let me do my job, right? And then maybe we can switch the numbers. So the next time you come to me talking about the numbers, we'll look at the numbers after something effective has been done. Maybe you can give us a second to actually change the dynamic, to actually change the topics, to actually change the messaging. You've changed nothing at all. Same format, same bullshit, same messaging, change nothing at all. But they want to be like, well, look, the numbers aren't changing. You're not doing anything that will reflect the numbers actually having an access point to change.
I want to weigh in on the messaging thing.
okay.
No, dude, you gotta chill.
Okay.
You gotta chill, please. You gotta chill. This question is for somebody who I love listening to speak to. This is a question for Naeem. Naeem, what is the correct messaging to black men coming out of Republicans' mouth? I don't want to hear reparations. Do not say reparations. Do not. Naeem, I know your ass, nigga. Don't say reparations. What is the correct messaging to black men if you are a black or white Republican or Indian in this case? What's the correct messaging to black men?
Peace, Brother Hotep, Sister Sunny, Sister Felicia, what's going on? Actually, it's so funny that you asked me that question because, you know, we could ask what that messaging is, right? And the only thing I can do is really just give a hypothesis because nobody is really coming to talk to people like me. And that's why I came up on the stage. I wanted to do a light-hearted role play with Kimberly Klasich, and please correct me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I remember when the first ads came out, and now I'm thinking about it, right? Because I was just listening, but I thought about kind of what the question that you're asking me right now, Hotep, and I wanted to know. I'm a resident of Baltimore, right? And I hear a knock at my door, and there you are with the little red dress on and the red pumps, and I come through in all my alpha glory, and I open my door, and there you're standing, and you introduce yourself. I'm Kimberly Klasich. I'm running for such and such for Baltimore, Maryland, but I'm a black Republican. So I go, I'm an informed elector. How would you convince me to vote for you? What is your messaging? What would you say to someone like me that's a resident from Baltimore that's on the other side of that door, and I'm asking you the question, why should I vote for you?
Oh boy, here we go.
Are y'all pulling me back in this? Really? All right. I mean, I'm here all fucking day. I do want to listen to you guys. Here's the deal. What you're saying is great in theory, but when it comes to real world, it is very, very different. And I appreciate the question there, Naeem. When we walked on doors, please know that in Baltimore, you probably already know this, we were the first Republicans to ever show up at many of those doors. We knocked on doors. There are many people that said, I never even met a Republican before. So here we are trying to break down what Republicans stand for. On top of, at that time in 2020, we were pushing opportunity zones. We were pushing the Platinum Plan. We were pushing a lot of the things that President Trump had on his agenda that we felt that could really elevate inner cities like Baltimore. So that's where we were coming from. We talked about some of his successes and wins, right? The funding for HBCUs.
Yo, they gotta let me moderate one of these political debates one day, man.
In our area. And so that's where our focus was. And that was fine. Like I said, we flipped 14,000 Democrats in the city of Baltimore alone. Now, that's not the entire district, but we did very well. And I appreciate your question, but that's kind of where we stood on there. And there were a lot of people that really did say, hey, you know what? I agree with your messaging, but at the end of the day, I know, and this is what we got, I know Kwesi and Fume, and so I'm going to vote that way. And that's what we got a lot. And so we knew at that point it's just going to take a lot more time, a lot more grassroots efforts, and that's why we're still in the community.
So basically, your way of convincing me would be to just use those talking points. How I was familiar with those talking points, right? How if I wasn't necessarily like a Trump hater, but I said, Trump did call COVID a hoax. That Platinum Plan dangled for about 4 years. And I've seen a lot of photo ops, with no substantive policy. How would you then respond to that?
Well, I'm not going to go back and forth because I do see there's other people in this room that should be speaking as well. But we would stand there and we would explain the policies. We would explain the Platinum Plan. And that's why it even took us a lot of money, right? When you're looking at pieces of literature, when you're talking about mailers, when you're talking about text messages, when you're talking about canvassing a district where you have 500,000 voters, all of that costs money. All right. And so there's a lot that goes into this, but at the same time, a lot of people love the message of school choice, right? In Baltimore City, we got some of the worst schools in the country. We talked about crime and violence, holding violent repeat offenders accountable. There are people that are like, look, I don't want to live on a block with an open air drug market, right? So there are things that we can talk about on a level where they say, you know what, I'm with you. But again, it does take time. And in theory, it sounds amazing. I love it. I had that theory when I decided to run for office. But when it comes to real world experience and reality, it's totally different. You try to adjust, you do the best you can, and you don't give up.
Darvio, would you have an answer for nominating?
Well, yeah, I would. I want to address what Kim was saying as well. I think part of the issue, she mentioned that a lot of the voters were saying that they know this person, so they're going to vote for him. Part of the issue is that we need to spend more time making sure that the people in the community actually know us. So that's one thing. A lot of times Black Republicans are disconnected from the community. And so then when you turn around and try to ask for people's vote, they're like, who are you? We don't know you. That's one problem. But the main thing, the reason why I raised my hand is because I wanted to share an experience that I had that I saw directly and convinced me that a lot of the things that they say, a lot of the so-called barriers to our community that they say is bullshit that's perpetuated by the party itself. So I was on a team working with a candidate in communications and messaging specifically here in a blue county. This is a blue county. A Republican has not been in leadership in this county in over 30 years. A Republican has not won this county since Richard Nixon. That's how blue this county is. And we didn't have, the money was not an issue. Our candidate raised over $1 million. He raised more money than a Democrat did for a county executive seat. He raised over $1 million. The money was not the issue. And we had a message to Black people. The message that we had a positive message, and then we also had a negative message because the Democrats
What was the message?
had Black issues. The message that we had, we were pushing for reform in contracting. For example, the county that we live in is 30% Black. The county contracts were going to 1% Black. So we were pushing to change things like that. We were pushing economic messages using the access that the county executive would have to specifically help Black people. And it's starting with the contracting. So the negative messaging is that the Democrat was in charge of a private police department. We have a lot of them here in Cleveland. That shit is crazy. A private police department that pulled over 94%. They gave 94% of its tickets to Black people in an area that's not majority Black. So we know that they were targeting. And we didn't run from that. We punched the Democrat directly in the face on this messaging. And we had Democrats, prominent Democrats in this county privately supporting us. But it was the Republican consultants that we had the issue with. It wasn't the donors. Because when you're running in a blue county and they know that you're at a disadvantage, if you find the right donors, they're willing to give you some leeway. They know they know you can't run like you were running a red county. We didn't have an issue with donors. We didn't have an issue with raising money. I sat in a strategy meeting once and listened to these these white Republican consultants divvy up the vote. My homeboy calls it the donut hole strategy, where they try to go around Black people. Well, you can't do that in a county that's 30% Black. You have to address Black people. So they put the voters in a different bucket. They had the hard R's, the soft R's, the independents, the soft D's, and the hard D's. They had no conversation about anything other than the hard R's, the soft R's, and a little bit of the independents. I asked the question. I said, well, wait a minute. We're putting hundreds of thousands of dollars in messaging, attracting Black voters, and the consultants don't want, I'm like, wouldn't technically, going to Sonny's point, If you look at that piece of paper, wouldn't you consider those voters hard Ds? Well, yeah, they'd be considered hard Ds. Well, you're not even talking about them. You're fighting us. They're fighting us for resources within the campaign. It was a fight in the campaign. The candidate wanted to do it. We're telling him to do it. The consultants are telling him not to do it. So there's a fight inside the campaign. But one thing that we saw, one of the Democrats who was secretly supporting us, maybe about 2 weeks before the election, 2-3 weeks before the election, came to me and said, hey, y'all shit is resonating. Y'all better make sure these black people show up to vote. And I took that back to the team, to the white side of the team. The black side of the team got it. The white side of the team, have no idea how to even attempt a get out the vote effort for black voters. And number two, they were scared to death because they did not want black voters to show up. They wanted to keep that vote depressed. Well, the problem when you're in a blue district, and if your messaging is hitting to black people in the inner city specifically, you need those people to show up. Those are the people who are most conducive to your message.
Did y'all win?
Those are the ones who are not benefiting
Did y'all win?
from the status quo.
Did y'all win?
No, we lost, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because the consultants, number one, the consultants beat us out. But the interesting thing that happened after the race was over, the newspaper here in Cleveland printed out a map of where our candidate overperformed and underperformed the statewide Republicans. All of them lost, but where he overperformed and underperformed, every single area he overperformed was in black neighborhoods. Every single one. But because they refused to listen to us and put resources into turning that vote up, the places where he overperformed were the places where the turnout was low. So they can say this shit all day long. It's bullshit. If you have a message and a candidate and somebody and somebody who's willing to do the shit, you can actually make it work. And that's what I want to say.
And if Debbio was in here, he would say the same thing about Chicago. And there are good people all around the country that are doing good work. And if you ask a lot of them, they will tell you their main problem is having to work with the Republican structure. And so that is not something we are refuting as being a problem. My phone is on fire. But don't conflate the Republican structure being a problem with our messaging being
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Messaging is not a problem. The problem is you have a group of people that forever have never, ever, ever had to worry about engaging black people and taking the black vote seriously. And now they're being pushed in a direction where they are being forced into it. And they are looking at it. So like you look at some of the people that are doing black outreach in certain areas now, and now you have like the white Republicans coming out and saying, oh, you're just woke. You're trying to do DEI. These are the black people that are trying to recruit other black people into the Republican Party. And they have to fight with the fucking Republicans. And this is my point about all of us standing 10 toes down on that messaging that it is not us that are the problem. It is not black people that are the problem. It is this structure, the way it stands. It is inconducive to being able to foster the kind of voluntary association that is necessary to make this shit a reality. So we need to do some work in our own house. You don't invite people over your house when your house fucked up. And you're looking at a Republican Party right now that is fucked up. And all we are saying, like responsible adults, let's clean up this shit before we start inviting anybody in. And it doesn't matter whether you're talking about the Hispanic vote or the black vote or the Asian vote or whatever other vote you are talking about. They're still going to run into the exact same people and the exact same structure with the exact same fucked up read and disconnect from what is actually happening in the world of politics. And so having more people that actually stand 10 toes down on the messaging will help to facilitate the new understanding in this Republican Party that doing shit the old way that is so confusing and stressful is no longer acceptable. That shit has to be shut down. And that has to be done up front so that the people that are on the ground doing the work do not have their biggest enemy being the Republicans that claim that they are their allies. You think that the Democrats side now, where all of them are turning on their black people because black people are turning on them. And you see how your allies treat you. I don't want that I don't want that shit. So fuck all that. Either we're going to have voluntary association where we are looking at how we are building collectively in our black communities and how that partnership looks with the Republican Party as opposed to just plucking a couple black people out and having them inserted into a system that's fucked up.
Well, I think that's a great point you made, Sonny. And it seems like we finally have some common ground between you and Kim, because you guys, I think that's what Kim was saying earlier. She was saying like, yo, we tried one thing, and the donor class want to do something else. And then Cannon's texting me and he's saying Kim had the support of the people until the donors stepped in. He don't know what happened after that. And he says, matter of fact, she had it until M. Fume jumped in as well. His blame alone sealed it, and we know Cannon's out of Baltimore. So it seems like you guys are saying the same thing. Kim, can you piggyback off of Sonny and sort of corroborate what she's saying here? Because what Sonny's saying is completely different from how I understood this thing. It's not messaging. It seems like it's a dirty swamp in the GOP.
Yeah, no, I think it's both. And I think that's what Sonny was talking about when she said, she was no longer invited to CPAC, or I don't know exactly what happened at the White House. But there's that
Sonny
upper
me out right
class that has a lot of power and a lot of money, and they don't want to see us win. That's just what it comes down to. And Darvio, I hope I'm saying that correct. If I'm not, I apologize. It sounds like you guys were running a great game there, and it sounded like it was going very well. And then you came up against with a lot of my candidates with Red Renaissance came up against, and that is the consultants and those within the GOP that didn't probably want to see your candidate win and didn't want to see you have that winning message that wasn't the message that they like to hear, right? Because it's a message that they're also sending to their donors. And so if you're sending something else out and then they're sending something else out on your behalf and it's not matching up, then they're pissed, right? So I think we are essentially all saying the same thing. It's just hard to get there. A lot of stuff sounds good in theory, but when it comes
here's the thing,
world,
Kim, and I don't mean to cut you off, and I ain't got no beef with you. I respect a lot of the stuff that you've been trying to do, and you did say the name right. The issue is there anybody on this call that doesn't know that the Republican establishment is fucked up? We all know it's fucked up. That is common knowledge, and that's not a surprise to anybody. The issue is, what are we going to do about it? You have to storm the fucking gate. One of the things that Sonny talks about is making sure that people know about the people who are on the RNC. I think it's a good idea for people to be joining their central committees. For example, here in Cuyahoga County, where I'm at, all of our central committee seats are open in predominantly black areas. If you fill them seats up, you take the party over, just like that. It's like that in a lot of urban county parties as well. So we understand that the Republican establishment is fucked up, but we have to storm the gate. And the issue where it becomes problematic is when you have people who are saying things like, this is never going to happen, the best, you know what I mean? Like when you have that, the people that we're fighting against, they repeat those talking points. So when I sat in those rooms listening to these idiot Republican consultants who have never won anything in an area that looks even remotely like mine, they're saying the same things that they see online. That's why it becomes a problem. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because we end up fighting those people in the trenches, and they're repeating the same talking points that they hear. That's why with all due respect, that's why that's problematic.
Well, I believe Sonny, and I can say she can correct me if I'm wrong, Sonny, what she did at CPAC was essentially storming the gate, and then she was canceled, right? Am I wrong?
And where? I'm still with the people. That's
you
where
said earlier that you were canceled.
That's where, yeah, I'm still with my people.
Shit.
Them people ain't gotta accept me. But what I'm gonna come out and say is, them people don't accept me. Right? I'm gonna come out and to say is stand 10 toes down. I'm not gonna play in your system when I know I can come and I can spit conservatism to you, and you are going to reject me for no other reason that I made it about Black men. So I'm going to take that message to my people and I'm going to say, look, this is what we're fighting against. So now I'm going to tell you what it looks like. I'm going to show you what you're walking into. I'm going to prepare you to walk into it. So when the consultants come and they start talking that shit to you, you're going to know how to stand 10 toes down to that consultant. When them donors start coming talking to you, you're going to know how to stand 10 toes down to those donors. And you're not going to repeat mistakes that people like me made because we decided that we were going to take the system by storm and didn't quite understand it. So yeah, I did it. I made mistakes. Again, I'm not above admitting my shit, but I also come back after having gone through the process, after experiencing it myself, after actually having some experience in the shit, to come back and say, no, this as it stands, this is a fucked up system. This is what you're walking into. This is what you're going to have to deal with. These are the people you're going to have to fight against. And what I am saying is consistently, it would be nice if the people we didn't have to fight against looked so much like us. Like, that's all I'm saying, right? And in the meantime, in between time, when it comes to educating people and making them aware of Black history, making them aware of cultural connections between Black people and conservatism, opening up conversations in Black spheres, having it filled with Black people and white people fighting amongst each other, but no names being called and actual discussions being had. Like, I'm safe here. And if this is what I get, I'd be cool with it because at least I'm with the motherfuckers that love me and want me here and are taking the knowledge to be able to activate that shit in an effective and efficient way. So I don't want to be the only Black face in a room full of white people. That shit is never going to sit well with me. It ain't never going to be kosher with me. I don't want pictures of myself all spread around just with white people. Again, never going to be kosher with me. And if this is the outcome of that, I'll take it. And Hotep asked me, like, do you feel like you have to go so hard? I feel like if somebody doesn't do it, then the people who come behind us are gonna constantly be caught in a position where they are compromising themselves. And I don't want them to become compromised because nobody before them had the fucking nuts to break the system. Now, does that make me a little bit villainous in everybody's eyes? Okay, good. I got it. I see it. Does it make me combative and confrontational with a lot of fucking people? Yes. Got it. Can see it. Am I cool with taking personal responsibility with what's happening here? You damn right. For the first time, I heard Hotep Jesus come out and make a full political commentary, and I fucking loved every bit of it. So if I played any kind of role into him putting that out, I won. I'm good. Now he ain't come chop it up with me on 101 different subjects, and me and him don't even agree on reparations. I'm good. Me and Carbon, cool as a motherfucker, but every single time he come in this room, I'm looking in a way to shadow box his ass. I'm good with that, right? So now I'm going to be looking at white people, and I'm not going to be like, oh, what do I have to do to make you like me? I'm going to be looking at, look who the fuck I'm bringing with me. Look what we got coming for you. When you want to talk shit about Black people, look how we react. Look how we respond together in tandem. Look how we push back. Look how we give Byron Donalds the fucking stomach to come out and say what needs to be said. And then all them other Black faces fell in line once he did. So if this is what I get for not compromising with consultants, for not going along and getting along with motherfuckers that do not have the Black community's best interest at heart, I'm good with that. I find that kosher, and I don't mind admitting it either.
Naheem, you want to jump in and finish your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, because I just want to, kind of respond to Hotep's question now, right? And if Dario came with his messaging and he knocked on my door, I'd have been stoked for that, right? I didn't hear no political spin. I heard exactly some of what I needed to hear about what he's pushing insofar as, okay, so every construction site I see is nothing but a bunch of Mexicans. So you're telling me that you're gonna fight to make sure that those contracts are going into these freedmen or these black neighborhoods so that we can have our people back on these construction sites? And this brother starts saying, yeah, detail that to me. And he details that to me. I'm gonna go, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Kimberly, on the other hand, and I'm gonna keep it lighthearted, the explanation she gave in convincing me, it just sounded like some stuff I would have heard on a Fox News segment, and I'd have been like, that's a hard no for me. But you go ahead and walk back to that car in that little red dress and them red pumps, girl. I'm gonna make sure nothing happened to you on your way to the car.
So what you're saying,
yeah, that's the answer to your, wait, real quick, sis, that's the answer to your question, Hotep. What's the messaging? What is the messaging? Because when Democrats knock on my door, and that's all who've ever, if I'm not mistaken, ever knocked on my door, they come with the same messaging. Republicans, bad. Democrats, good. Vote for me so we could give all this shit to the illegal immigrants that's coming in. You see what I'm saying? So it's all about messaging at the end of the day. And that's why, I listen to Sister Sunny and Felicia, because they on point with their messaging. We, like Sister Sunny said, we disagree on some things, and it's very few things. There's the small things, reparations being one of them. But other than that, I'm able to have the conversation, and I come in these spaces to really learn. I only came on this stage because I just wanted to know how she would convince me to vote for her, and she didn't do that. I just got to keep it official. All right, y'all, peace.
We love you, Brother Naheem. Let's go over to Carbon. You've been quiet, sir. Thank you for respecting our order. Go for it.
Thank you, ma'am. I want to take a shot. I mean, what I know about professional politics is approximately jack shit. But I want to take a shot at the question that Hotep asked and that Naheem asked about what is the messaging. I got something for you. It's exactly 24 words long. Ready? Lightning round. Family before the state. Right to self-defense. Unlock your native hustle. Your money, your choice. Yes to your traditions. And our Constitution, our law. How about that? I bet you could take that message to the blackest district, and to the whitest district, and to the Latino district, and to the Asian district.
Say it again.
And it would resonate. I'll go again. 1, family before the state. 2, right to self-defense. 3, unlock your native hustle. 4, your money, your choice. 5, yes to your traditions. And 6, our Constitution, our law. That's 24 words. You could print that shit on a napkin. And I bet you that would resonate all over. I got the air horn.
That's fire. That's fire.
My selector. No, Hotep, my selector. Make it wheel and come again, Little shots in the ear.
Look at the carpet.
But listen, I want to go back to something what Sonny was saying, and what I think it's Adrian said as well. Look, right now, right, conservatives who have the right messaging, okay, are still reaping a bitter harvest that was sown for the last 20 years. Republicans have spent the last 20 years systematically destroying their brand, and by association, the brand of conservatism with many of the most conservative voters in America, namely Black voters. Now, So to me, I think that when me and Sonny fight about this or whatever, I think it's about will rather than should. Should we be pushing the message of conservatism to Black voters? Yes, that's the right message today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, and for every new day that it pleases God to open our eyes. We should be preaching that message. Now, is that enough in this environment, given that we're in 2023? Okay, to make you guys successful? When I say you guys, I mean the populist wing of the Republican Party, to not only beat the Democrats, beat the media, beat the Republicans, but also outrun the steal in 2024. I don't know. From what I see now online, even from MAGA people, I think not, but I would love to be wrong. From your lips, Sonny, to God's ear. You know who I want to win. I'm going to tell you a little story, and then I'll land it there. I live in New York State. Here's how useless the Republican Party is in New York State. A Republican candidate for governor couldn't even beat a Democratic candidate for governor who had never campaigned, who no one had ever voted for. She was merely a legacy of a Democratic governor who left his office in disgrace. And Lee Zeldin couldn't even beat her. Now, do I think there was cheating in the election? Almost certainly. Let's not pretend that the only steal that ever happened in American politics was in 2020. Okay, but the fact is that is how useless, in my opinion, the Democratic Party is in New York. That's how hard it is going to be to flip some of these districts. Doesn't mean you shouldn't try. And I've again, since I've been online, I've been telling Republicans, listen, you need to go talk to Black people respectfully, and don't expect that you're going to land. Don't expect that you'll bring them around on the first try. Keep trying. Don't just come and make a half-assed effort in one electoral cycle and then go back to talking shit about us and then be surprised and then come crying again like you always do when you lose the next time around. Yeah. So there's will it happen? There should it happen. Sorry. Go ahead.
Look at things with Lee Zeldin, right? So if you remember in Lee Zeldin's campaign, he didn't start actually talking to Black people until he had like a month left or a month and a half. Yeah. And in that last month and a half, when he actually went and tried to talk to Black people, he rejected.
Say it again. I'm sorry. Was that a question? I didn't hear.
Lee Zeldin, when he was running for governor in New York, he waited to like almost a month and a half before the election before he actually started talking to Black people. When he actually did go to Black people and talk, was he rejected? I
don't know. You tell me. I don't know.
He was not rejected. He was actually surprised by the reception he received because a lot of Black people was there. They were talking about the illegal immigration. They were talking about housing. They were talking about the crime. And they were receptive to listen to him. And he was kind of dumbfounded by the fact that it happened that way.
Right. So that's why I didn't say. Yeah, go on.
So after the election was
I had a whole Grift Report lined up today, and it just got thrown out the window.
RNC chair. But he realized that, he needed to, start a lot earlier to be able to actually be able to win that process. It was no way in hell you could start that process after the election and be effective at it, right? There's no fucking way. So he made that realization. But what did Lee Zeldin say in his attempt when he came out and he was like, this is what I would do as the RNC chair? His thing was, I did not realize that I could actually go to the Black community and they would be receptive. So when we're looking at the next RNC chair, we have to make sure that we have a chair that is willing to go into every single district, not just safe districts, and be able to have conversations with people we thought we could not possibly have conversations with. So because of that experience he had in the last couple of months of his campaign, when he did have an agenda that he was pushing out for RNC chair, It was to make sure they were going into neighborhoods they weren't traditionally going to and talk to and get people that they didn't think they could traditionally get. So again, if you are looking at this, there are instances even of white Republicans coming to their senses, and Felicia loves pointing out Kemp for this, but there are instances of white politicians understanding in their position it is also necessary for them to be able to garner the black vote. And they are pivoting and changing their message. And it's so funny that you can even see smart white people realize that the way that they have been doing things cannot happen that way, and they are changing the way that they are doing things. And again, you still have people that look like us that are like, well, no, the system is the system. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's absolutely right. Yeah. And by the way, that's why I didn't say, look how liberal black people in New York are. I said, look how useless the Republican Party is. In other words, like it or not, if you ran and you didn't win, then it's on you. Me and Jeff Charles have talked about this forever. It's like you can't insult people into voting with you. And if you didn't win, it's your fault because you're running your campaign. So I'm with you there. And as you know, I would really like to see a Republican governor in New York State. I'd really like to see a Republican legislature in New York State. But this is a thing that again, what I'm talking about is not should we give up on black conservatism. I'm doing my just dumb old analysis of can you repair? Can Sonny and her people and the people who understand what she's trying to say, can
Jabari with the super chat says Latina for Freedom tweeted that Democrats and Republicans have an agreement on the black community. It's the Democrats' turf, so the Repubs stay away. Yeah, that's a lot of what gerrymandering is about. Matthew Ackman just gave away 20 memberships on the channel.
How do you like your diversity? Posting crime porn and all type of vile shit, but they're not actually interested in outreach. So that's all I'm complaining about. But I'll land it there. Thanks for letting me come up. I appreciate it.
And that's one of the reasons why we put the challenges we put out to white conservatives and white Republicans, because it really does come down to a large portion of it being their choice about what they are they going to continue to accept what they have been given and the outcome and results of what they have been given, or do they want to try something new? And that is the question that is up for debate. But what we are saying is you are not going to take that old wine and put it in a new purse and think you aren't going to ruin both. Right? We're smart enough to understand that it's going to be total demolition of what was before for something new to be built. And that's just the standard of what it is. And if you look at something new to be built, it is not built on thin air. It is built on black history.
Get them likes up. Get them likes up.
Right? It is built on Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington and Carter Woodson and Malcolm X. It is built on our legacy. It is built on our sweat. It is built on our tears. It's built in our blood. So it's not some outside thing when we're talking about looking at what is and completely demolishing it. No, we have the blueprint of what it took for us to be able to thrive in America, not survive, not like barely make it and constantly see nothing but death, poverty, and destruction surrounding us. We know the blueprint. So what we're falling back on is historical context, not imaginary because we've done it before. And it is a voluntary association with white Republicans and conservatives and their understanding of messaging. So when you have those dumbass white people that are out doing the stuff that you just named, that you have other white people that are fighting them while we are out doing our job. That's how this shit works, right? But if we out and we now distracting the black progressives so they not over here calling you fucking racist, you think you ain't got no skin in the game and you ain't got no work to do policing your own squad? So yeah, we're gonna need y'all ass to be active in this too. That's why it is voluntary association. It is not a matter of us just saying, oh yeah, we can do it in and of and by. No, it ain't that. If y'all don't want this and if y'all are not active in making sure this becomes a reality with your actions, and this is the Republican Party and every single fucking body in that apparatus,
Breaking news: we got a another shooting.
is infeasible because we constantly have to look at, fight, and go through you. And it also, when Black people look at us with skepticism, we have to respect the skepticism, right? We have to respect it. We have to understand why they're looking at us the way that they're looking at us. And it's not as like, oh, Black people just don't understand or they just won't talk to us. No, I know you don't want to talk to me because the record that Republicans have. I get that shit, but I'm about to talk to you like no Republican has talked to you before. This is this is what we stand for. And again, I could do it without cussing. I honestly can.
It sounds better. It sounds much better with the cussing than it does without the cussing. Just to let you know. Also, real quick heads up. I just want to let you know. Since 2 p.m., I've been grifting off to the Twitter Spaces. We have been live on YouTube, so I apologize to anybody that got grifted. But yeah, we are live on Rumble and YouTube right now. We've been live since 2 p.m. I just want to know, how long is this Twitter space going to be going, so I know how long am I going to be grifting?
I do not know until we come to some conclusion or conversation. My husband has already given me permission to continue, so.
Let's go.
I wanted to say
like the wind, brother.
before we move forward, because one thing that you mentioned is something that I've been sharing with beloved conservatives, that there has been a pivot among some white Republicans like Brian Kemp and others. When we talk about these messages, when we talk about the shift in how we can present conservatism effectively to Black voters, we have several individuals who are within these different levels of the apparatus who follow our accounts. They may not be boisterous, they may not quote tweet, they may not do any of that, but they do listen behind closed doors. They listen intently.
And the shooter's Chinese too.
The reason we continue to host these conversations is because we know that even if they're not tuning in right now live, they will be listening to the replay. And when I say again that there are white candidates, white conservative, white Republicans who have pivoted, and Brian Kemp is my top.
Oh shit! I just fucking. Oh, I knew that was gonna happen. My bad, y'all. I knew that was gonna fucking happen. I knew I was gonna end up closing it by accident.
Is my top. He's my guy. Like, he's the one I can say definitively he met 90% of my demands. What we are saying is it can be done. It has been proven. We have elections underneath our belt to prove the essence of it. And as Darvia was talking about, when you find the right donors, they will invest. One of the reasons why I did the CCM donations the way I did it was to prove that even small donors like beloved,
so the shooter's Chinese,
will invest in a pro-Black message, a pro-Black conservative message, because they understand that they need this alliance just as much as Black voters do. So the idea that there's no money that can be invested, or that there, white conservatives just want nothing to do with the message that we are preaching,
I got a ton of material for tomorrow,
because again, the evidence is here. At the same time, though, and this is what Dario also alluded to, when I was talking to some of the representatives over here in College Park, Atlanta, Georgia, their biggest hiccup was dealing with the white consultants. So they had to deal with that portion of that apparatus. So again, when we see the problems that are present, those of us who have access to the people's ear, whether it's through mainstream media or social media, which is what I call the new independent mainstream media, understand that we have to be the ones there to help make it easier for those who did get access and are working in the apparatus, and they genuinely want to start reaching out to Black communities. So I wanted to emphasize here that yes, we do have white Republicans who are pivoting. Yes, we do have white conservatives who are paying attention, and they're doing.
Sonny, if my mic's a little too busted up, just let me know and I'll drop down. But yeah, I just wanted to applaud Darvio, the messaging, the 25 words. That's, that speaks to all Americans. That's the point, like, You know, I'm Middle Eastern born, you know, Middle Eastern Slav mix of a person. And, you know, I just look at all of us as Americans and how are we going to get through this? These people are spending up the debt and, you know, devaluing our dollar. It's harder to live every day. And that 25-word messaging that he laid out is just perfect. It should speak to anybody, regardless of color, race, whatever, you know, creed. Religion, whatever. You know what I mean? It's about being American.
YouTube says they want. I just put a poll up on YouTube. YouTube says they want me to go to callers.
Fine. And
Thank you,
I
brother.
applaud you, Darvio. Thank you.
That was me, not Darvio, but thank you.
Oh, that was you? I
Yes,
couldn't
sir.
tell because of the mics. Who's that, Carb?
Yeah, that's me, Carbon Mike.
Oh, thank you, Carbon. That was beautiful, man.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you. God bless you.
I appreciate you.
God bless America. God bless you all.
Thank you, Adam. We certainly enjoy you being in our presence, sir. Let's go to this new speaker, Viva La Dave.
Hey guys, I couldn't believe when I joined the space that it's the Sonny Johnson from Fox News forever ago that I watched on there all the time when I was growing up. So I've been a conservative,
I want to hear
black
this guy.
conservative in a predominantly white area since I was a teenager. And, you know, I watched a lot of Fox News and I've actually ended up working on campaigns. That's where I met Kimberly Klasick in Central Florida on Willie Montague's campaign. And I just wanted to push back a little bit on what someone was saying about, well, it's up to the candidate whether you win or lose. Well, Kimberly didn't win her congressional campaign, but she registered an incredible number of Republicans and shifted the balance in an area that is a blue stronghold. She really eroded their beachhead strongly and then started work immediately with all of the momentum she had to get other conservatives and black conservatives elected around the country. So she really did a lot more than winning one seat. She's been influential and instrumental in winning countless seats. And that's the attitude we have to have, is that it's this mission first. And obviously, you know, what we're doing as conservatives to sway minority voters is working, because Trump got a record number of minority voters, black voters, in 2016. And then he expanded on that historic 50-year GOP lead in 2016 in 2020. He got even more. So what we're doing is working. It doesn't mean that we rest on our laurels.
Completely treat you like I treat Kim. So if you will come and say her talking points, it's fine to let her say them herself. If you have something else you want to offer that to the conversation relative to what we were speaking, we believe in black female power over here. So I think Kim can make her own case. Is there something else you want to talk about?
Yeah. I was moving on just to talking about how Trump expanded this lead.
Let's start at that point.
Yeah, so it's working. What's going on with the outreach to the black community for conservative values, and that's not to say, hey guys, don't try anything new. We can't do better. Of course, we can always do better, but I don't want people to be discouraged and think, oh,
I want to go to calls. I want to listen to Sonny at the same time.
record black votes, and we've only been expanding on all of that.
Okay, so I want to
that's what I'm
stop
saying.
you for a little bit. When you say there's a record
Oh,
of
shit.
it,
Here we
talk
go.
to me about this record.
Yeah, so are you familiar with the stats from 2016 and 2020?
I'm
just in the presidential?
familiar with a lot. Are you familiar with history?
A little.
Okay, all right, continue.
Yeah, so I mean, look, I guess we could go ahead and just Google it, right? Because at this point, it's just like, hey, some guy just said. So if people aren't familiar, I'd encourage them to Google themselves. I'll Google. I'll present this, right? Since I'm presenting this fact.
The reason why I pushed back on you is because your bit of black conservative politics and history goes back to 2016, and we're on a different plane here.
Oh, ma'am, I can go back to the 1800s if you'd like, where Democrats were the slaveholders and the Republicans fought.
So I can drag you. Be quiet.
To free their slaves.
Oh, hold on. We're
And then
staying right here. It's getting
reformed the
spicy.
KKK. And in 1924, the Democrats.
All right. So he's on that hype about the whole 1865. Whoop, whoop, whoop. All right, fine. Have fun.
Do you see what I'm saying? Right?
Yeah.
And this is why, Kim, you should speak for yourself and not let other people speak. Don't let people speak for you. Don't bring people up here to speak for you, because then when they open their mouth and we hear the rest of what they got to say, now we looking at you even more suspect. We gonna erase what he said, and we gonna let Kim speak for herself, and we're not gonna attach what we just heard to anything that Kim said. We gonna keep that completely separate, okay?
Yeah, and I haven't talked to Kim in years. I just happened to have met her on a campaign trail years ago. So just clarifying, I'll speak for myself as well. Thank you, Sonny.
Yeah, we gonna do that. We gonna make that detachment.
Well, I will say real quick, and Felicia, I apologize if you didn't call on me. I think he did a fantastic job. I mean, honestly, look, Sonny.
There you go.
No, Sonny, I'm talking right now, right? You said I can talk.
There you go. Perfect.
So now I can't talk. So this guy, honestly, he was working with Willie Montague, but this is what I said, a success from our campaign. There were people all over this country that jumped up and started not just running, but working on campaigns and wanted to see other people win, even when it was just, us walking down the street in Baltimore. That is success. It really is. And so I noticed that you said that he basically can't talk because he came on here and said, nice things about me. I got to pick up my daughter from school, but I want to thank everybody for their time. And when your messaging works in a city or with any minority candidate, Felicia, I know you said Brian Kemp, but when it works with a minority candidate, I would love to see it. I would love to look at that blueprint.
I did it.
And I would love to know.
I did it, Kim, at a local level. His name is Jalen Johnson in Albany, Georgia.
I know Jalen. I do know Jalen, and his district was a little different.
Super
Jalen.
deep blue. He needed some assistance in terms of how to message effectively. So me coming after, what's his name? Viva La Dave, it had nothing to do with you, Kim. I was addressing him because he wanted to push some of these nonsense talking points in this space, and we just don't do that. And so what Sonny was saying is, no, let Kim speak for herself and let her stand 10 toes down. Now, what he wanted to talk about was, as I just mentioned, the talking points when it comes to Democrat
You mean
versus
history.
Republican. Okay,
Civil
so
rights laws of the
do you need to get
1960s.
removed, sir?
Who voted for them?
Do you need to get removed, sir? Because
I can leave if you want.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Because I was talking to Kim and not to you. All right, let's get back. So, Kim, I wasn't, in addressing him, I wasn't doing any kind of sub towards you whatsoever. And you know this very much so. What I was, when it comes to you and my critique was that your message currently versus the work that you've actually done, they conflict. And when Black voters look at this and they see, okay, Kim is out here, she is registering voters, she's putting boots on the ground, she took her influence that she got at the national level, and she is using it to bring some more work into Baltimore. That's cool. And I've actually had Black voters inside Twitter class who are much more appreciative of the work that you were doing because they saw what was happening after the fact. So that was my thing. If you're going to be doing this great work, it can't be alongside this notion that Black, the idea of us winning is just having Black voters not showing up. That was my critique against your position as of right now. This Viva La Dave or what have you, I don't know why he came up here. I don't know if he was trying to be a cheerleader or maybe he thought, we were tag teaming against you. But Sonny was like, no, she could stand 10 toes down on her own messaging, which we had a really great conversation over the last hour with you, Kim, until he wanted to show up here with those stupid talking points. And we just don't do that here.
Yeah, I can just leave if you don't want to.
Yeah, go ahead and leave, sir. Thank you for playing the game. Bye-bye.
What I was pointing out is, look, I got to go pick up my daughter, like I said. But when somebody agrees with you and Sonny, then it's like, okay, thank you for your time. But if somebody agrees with me, it's like, oh, well, this is... And so I'm just pointing out the obvious there. Now, Felicia, I would never, ever think that you were trying to do anything but kind to me. You were the one that was standing with me, even Sonny, with Candace Owens and all that other bullshit, right? So I don't think ever that you're trying to be against me. All I'm saying is I'm going to stick by what I tweeted out. I'm hoping for a 2016. There are a lot of Democrats out there that do not want to vote for Joe Biden, that still will not vote for Trump in 2024. And so, yes, the best scenario for those individuals is the fact that they hopefully do not come out and vote at all. And if they don't come out and vote at all, then yes, we're definitely going to get in the White House. Now, our big concern, to be honest, and I know you know this already, is the fact that it looks like we might not pick up the Senate. we need the House and the Senate. And so when I'm looking at what's going on a national level, I'm looking at the fact that we are not going to probably most likely have the candidates we need and the numbers in the Senate. And if we want to make a change in this country, we need to get both the House and the Senate along with the Oval Office. Like I said, I got to go. But you know what? If you have, and I know Jalen Johnson well, I know that you helped Jalen. And honestly, if we can do that on a national level, like a federal seat, I would love to see it. And I would love to take that blueprint and run with it. Thank you so much.
Text the number if you want to get it on the calls.
She's so cute.
202-596-5631. Text the number if you want to get it on the calls.
Felicia, I think you probably know a lot that the GOP needs to learn, and you know many things that I don't know and have experiences that are hugely important. And I think it's productive to hear about those and to act.
Text 202-596-5631 with Hotep in your name if you want to get on the phone calls. We're going to open up the line.
You're inserting your elementary commentary into a collegiate room.
Oh,
okay, that's fine. I'm a simple person. That's okay. So explain to me
what
simply.
I'm saying is you've inserted yourself, assuming that we don't know what we're talking about, instead of coming in here asking
That's not true.
questions.
I said the opposite, and I am asking a question. So what is the main problem you have specifically with what it is that I said, and what is the solution? And you'll probably generate many legitimate solutions.
Sir, we don't need solutions from you.
No, I'm asking from you.
We've already given it. We're knocking on 5 hours of solutions.
Well, I know. I just got here, though.
The question. What exactly is your question?
My question is, what have you seen that's effective, and how do you see that it's different than how the GOP is engaging? Obviously, you can critique the GOP. They're not doing anywhere near a perfect job.
Okay, are you in a space right now where you are hearing shit you never heard before?
Yeah.
Okay, then that your answer. That was easy. All right, Rano. Oh, I'm not sorry. I don't even know who it was. Let me not step in. No, let me. I have something that I want to say real quick, because it goes to this concept of me being like, there you go. Here it is. It self-proves, and this goes back to me saying, I trust the people in this space. I trust your intellect. I trust y'all to be smart and to know what's going on. So I just wanted to point out, there we go. When you have someone that comes in and one of us say, how much do you know about history? And someone responds, not much. And then we instantly get dismissive. Why are we instantly getting dismissive? Is it because you said something nice about somebody else? What do you think in that moment makes us get dismissive? Is it the fact that you don't fucking know history? And you admit up front that you don't know history?
Well, to be fair, I haven't been allowed to speak, and I can cite the historical knowledge that I have, but I'm not like a PhD in history, right? You probably know more about history than I don't doubt it. Here's the thing. I don't know what you know because we're not having this dialogue where you're just presenting it. Here you're attacking me.
We're not having this dialogue right now. We had this dialogue for years. There's numerous different spots you can find where we have all of these connections made. As a matter of fact, since Hotep Jesus in here and we helping Hotep with the Grift today, you can go and Google me and Hotep Jesus and Black Conservative. And it's a whole 3-hour interview that me and him did together that will give you a lot of the answers you think I'm going to stop right this minute and give to you that I'm just not going to do.
I'll go and watch that, Sonny. I think that'll be great. But I'm really familiar with his work, and I'm less familiar with your work, but I've seen you over years on Fox, and I think Hotep's great.
There you go. So you can go there and all your answers that you
just
want
to be clear, my political mentor is Sonny Johnson. So if you've heard me, you've probably heard Sonny Johnson. You definitely need to listen to our interview, but she's basically my mentor in this space.
Hey, where can I find that real quick? What do I type into Google?
Hotep Jesus and Sonny Johnson. It's that simple.
Done.
And that'll give you a lot of the answers to the questions you ask. But specifically, the reason, and again, you can hear all of that shit about, oh, we've done this, we've done this, we've done this, we've done this. At the same time, you're having people like Darvio, people like Devi.
I'm going to excuse myself from this space and take phone calls. Just let me wait for Sonny. I'm going to hop in and just excuse myself from this space, and then we'll take phone calls.
Right? And I can promise you, eventually, there will come a time where she hits the exact same spot. Like, and she will come in and she's gonna be like, I tried and I did and it's not gonna sound anything like the bullshit that she was just peddling. And to me, that becomes an issue again. Is I don't want to sell anybody some shit that I don't actually fucking believe in. And painting some picture of the Republican Party having an access point for Black people is unrealistic. But saying that the Black community will buy a conservative message if it is properly messaged to them, that is not unrealistic.
Well, the Republican Party as it exists today isn't an access point for anyone. They don't represent the values of the people, just like the Democratic Party doesn't.
Then let's take that shit over. That's the point I'm making. If you know that that's true, and I know that that's
100%.
true, when you got Black faces that tell you that the answer is to ignore us, you need to ignore them and find us. That's the point that I am making. Don't go and look for these
Sonny,
people.
those people that disagree with you are patently stupid in the sense that Blacks delivered the 2016 election to Trump.
And not even, no, we didn't. And then you could have had more in the numbers. It could have been a complete decimation. You could have had the same thing in 2020. It could have been a complete decimation. Instead, because y'all chose certain people to be y'all representatives, I won't say no names, you weren't able to make that connection. And all we are saying is, if y'all are about to rewind and do that same stupid shit again, then do not be blaming us when the shit don't work out the way y'all want it to work out. And again, when you're looking at coming in and starting to talk about, oh, there are these Senate seats where we are looking at, well, what the fuck is the Senate even a matter? Oh, because you lost the Georgia Senate seat last go around? Why you lose the Georgia Senate seat last seat? Tell me why that happened. Oh, because y'all picked one of them Black faces and you thought that Black face was gonna do what? And who was warning you the entire time that that was a fucking mistake and there was no way in hell that Herschel Walker ass was going to be able to win that seat? It was us Black people telling you that shit was impossible. Y'all listening to them other Black faces telling you we got a shot at this. How did it end up? And now
No, you're right. And you're talking about the GOP establishment, and I've never worked with them. All of my candidates have been primarying the establishment.
In this moment, I'm not talking about the GOP establishment. I'm talking about your Black faces. I'm talking about the
Selected
Black
by the GOP establishment.
That went. No. Them Black faces are selected by y'all. Y'all
That's true. That's true.
Y'all.
That's true. That is true. That is true.
In this Republican space, y'all retweet them.
Yep.
They put that stupid shit out and they be like, who's with me with their little hand raised?
Yep.
And y'all jump on their bandwagon.
Yep.
And when y'all start jumping
Yep.
on that bandwagon, that's when the other people be like, okay, we can, and then they go after them to win them. But it all starts with what y'all accept. So I'll give you an example. Like right now, that dude that had the shirt on that said niggas for Trump. Everybody's going after him right now because that's got to be our faith, right? That's got to be the one that represents us. Look, it's different, it's fresh, it's new, it's this, it's that, right? Who the fuck is he? What the fuck does he stand for? What has he done? You don't know shit about him, but you already ready to make him your king because he put on a fucking shirt to say niggas for Trump.
If you look at my profile, I haven't done any of that stuff, not even one time.
I'm talking about as a collective, not you specifically. This is collectively because this pattern rinses and repeats, right? So this is a collective thing, right? So now he becomes that one.
It's just because he's new and novel.
Let me hop in right here because I have to go and I just want to say my final words and I just want to hop in right here. Sonny is absolutely, you can say a lot of things about Sonny. On this topic right here, Sonny is absolutely fucking on point. Before you elect a politician, you elect your local grifter, whether it's local to your vicinity or local to your little bubble on Twitter. You guys elect the grifter, aka influencers, and those are the people that the donors go and they pluck those voices to push their campaigns, et cetera, and their products or whatever it may be. But your first vote is with the repost button, the retweet button, the like button, the quote tweet button. That is your first vote. And you guys suck with that vote. I'm telling you right now. Sonny, thank you very much for having me a part of this space.
Hotep, I love you, and it's an honor to meet you. But before you leave, can you tell me specifically who are you guys?
Everybody in
She
this
just told
sphere,
you. She just told you. She just told
the
you.
right
Everybody.
sphere.
White conservatives primarily, because this is your space, this is your country, this is your politics, this is your government. White conservatives. White conservatives have some. You guys didn't prop up Sonny Johnson. You didn't prop up Hotep Jesus. You didn't prop up Felicia. You didn't prop up any real black voice. The voices that you propped up are people that just want to shill and make money off of your emotions and don't give a fuck about you.
You know, I hate to say it, Hotep, but I mean, coming from a different side, I totally see what you're saying, and I've experienced it firsthand with Willie Montague. You know, he's a brilliant black GOP activist, ran for United States Congress, really shifted the needle, and the establishment didn't want anything to do with him because he wasn't what they wanted.
Yeah. But thank you for your time. Very productive space. And thank you, gentlemen, that's speaking. I appreciate your love. I'm still growing. I'm still developing. I'm still looking to get better. So what you see today will be better tomorrow. Thank you for your time. Sonny Johnson, I love you.
I know I owe your ass. Don't thank you. You're not getting off the hook. I got to deal with shit when we get off of this because of what you did. I won't let it miss you. No, I love
Hotep, you know you done fucked up now.
I done fucked up.
I love you. Go ahead and have a wonderful day.
All right, Sonny. Oh, man. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to have Goldstein on the line. Goldstein, go ahead and call in. Oh, my God. This shit is crazy.
Yeah, I can try to get that handled for you. Again, it's only my second day, so if you can give me a second. How I'm supposed to do this? How the hell are we supposed to do this by 5 o'clock? I have no clue. Is that possible? Hey, do you have the password to... How'd you finish all your work already? He's not tapped in. How'd you get that done so quick? They think they're gonna be able to budget that? It's money. That's money right there, you understand? You guys finished your work 6 hours early? He's not tapped in.
Ladies and gentlemen, Goldstein on the line. What up, Goldstein?
What's going on, man?
I got to blame this shit on you, though. I got to blame today on you because I seen Sonny's light up that she was on. And then I saw the subject matter. And I'm like, should I grift? Should I not? Then I saw your face, and it was just like, yep, I should probably grift. If he's grifting, I'm grifting. And then here we are. What'd you think of the conversation, yo?
Nigga, hey, I was neutral on Kim Klacik, bro. I was really neutral on her. I didn't really know much about her. I really didn't follow her campaign and shit because I wasn't really trying to fuck with none of that shit back then. But after today, that bitch is on the fucking insurgent watch list, bro.
What?
She on the insurgent watch list, man. Nah. You get up on there and you sit there and you bold-faced just tell everybody that you are duplicitous. You admit to being duplicitous when it comes to messaging for the black community. You're going to tell all the people with the money one thing. You're going to tell niggas some whole other shit. And then when you press her on it, she can't even give you what she telling either side. She can't give you what she telling niggas because they ain't got no messaging for niggas. And she can't tell you what she telling the donor class because that shit shifts from fucking cycle to cycle. So she can't pigeonhole herself into one aspect of that because there may be new donors rolling around next year. So she can't even give you a full answer on that. That's insurgent shit, bro. That's insurgent shit.
Well, I want to throw some bell because that's my homie. Let me see how I could do it. What's the best way I could do this? She's in the swamp. She's in there. So there's certain things that she's not privileged to share.
I get that. I understand that. But then this ain't the game for you because the swamp needs to be drained, okay? It can't be catered to, coddled, hand held and all that other bullshit. Nah, you got to get in there and you got to pull the plug on shit. Or stay the fuck out the way because you're doing more harm than good. At the end of the day, look, that one nigga in there who was talking about the wire, bro. Remember, dude?
Yeah.
It took all of 1 hour to reach that nigga. 1 hour. He came in not knowing what to expect. He left that space with a whole different view on shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it don't take no hella moving mountains to go convince niggas of nothing. Nothing. Like dude said, he had the little 24-word plan. That's all you got to do. It's called conservatism. That's it.
Dude did have an ill-ass plan, too. He had great messaging.
He did. That nigga need a bag quick.
Yeah.
Because, man, it's just, it's like, God damn, man, look, Trump proved that shit, bro. I could say a lot about Trump, and I got my doubts about Trump, but one thing he proved is how effective messaging can be if you're willing to talk to people and not fucking look at them as if they're commodities or numbers.
Yeah.
This man came in one election cycle, virtual unknown in the politosphere. We knew him as a celebrity. We knew him as a fucking rich motherfucker. But as far as politics and policy, zero knowledge of this motherfucker. He came in one election cycle and won the hearts and minds of half this goddamn country.
That's true.
That's how easy it is.
He did do that.
So,
he did do that.
Yeah. You don't have to fucking move mountains to convince niggas of shit. And like I said in that space, if you can't do that task, as easy as it is, then I don't need you in no leadership position because politics only gets more complex from there.
Yeah.
And so how the fuck am I to believe that you able to be effective on a global scale when you can't even talk to niggas who share the same values, walk the same streets, shop in the same Walmarts as your ass? You can't even talk to them. How the fuck you gonna talk to Xi Jinping?
Goldstein's nominated at the Grifties. Go ahead and go vote for him. He's ranked 113. He's under the newest nominees. Y'all see it right there on the screen. My bad.
Yeah, I'm coming for this. Pause. It's on and cracking. Yeah. But yeah, one more thing on that bullshit is if you really want to affect niggas, it's real basic shit. If you out there trying to influence a group of people, you don't go out there and try and influence thousands or millions. You go out there and try and influence the people who can. I don't see motherfuckers outreaching to gang leaders. I don't see motherfuckers outreaching to ex-cons. I don't see motherfuckers outreaching to former addicts and shit. And even though they're in a bad way and they can't vote, a lot of them, they influence niggas who can. They influence the youth. Motherfuckers want to be that G on the block. Now, if you can reach that nigga and have him delivering your messaging, you in a good spot. But they don't even talk to niggas like that. They don't even try because half the time they scared. But that just goes to show you, it's not for them. It's not for them. Those black faces like Kim Klacik stand a better chance at it, but she too busy trying to stay in that limo next to them other motherfuckers, next to them donors. You know what I'm saying? She ain't trying to fuck with no niggas from the block. She ain't trying to fuck with the ex-cons. She ain't trying to fuck with the addicts. She ain't trying to fuck with the hoes. She ain't trying to talk to none of them and convince them to convince the youth. They can convince them of some bullshit. They can damn sure can convince them of some good shit. But you got to reach them first. There's no outreach for that. But that's all I got to say on that, bro.
Interesting point. So I think the pushback from the GOP would be it's a waste of resources and, it wouldn't work and the numbers say otherwise. But I also get your side because you're really talking about, and this is something I've been saying in marketing for a long, long time, right? Everybody's looking at the numbers, right? And So coming from marketing, we're doing digital marketing, we're looking at analytics, we're looking at page views, click-through rates, all types of different statistics, right?
Yeah.
But I'm looking at them, I'm like, it's stats in Google Analytics that Google don't know about that you can't quantify, like anecdotal evidence of many individuals collectively. That shit means more than all these numbers on the screen. And that's why they be so confused when people like you mentioned before, like when Trump comes to power. They're like, how the fuck did this happen? The numbers said otherwise. I'm like, because you guys are so out of touch with the ground, you could never put together a good ground game. But people on the ground could tell you how to put together a good ground game. Like I said before, I mentioned mass incarceration being a strong talking point for black men, especially young black men. And I got pushback on it. They said, that's not what black people want. That's not what black people want. That's not what black men want. But then the Trump mugshot happened, and that's the first thing they used to relate to black people. And then here you are, an ex-con, coming on my platform and basically saying, ex-cons are an overlooked group. Everybody ignores them, acts like they don't exist. But again, they're just like political pawns. Like, we'll talk about them, but we won't ever exactly talk to them, right? And I think that's a fascinating approach and something I think. So in politics, you got to grift at some point, right? So I would love to see a campaign where we put together something like Hotep Con next year. Hotep Con next year is going to have a panel. We're going to do panels next year. We're going to have an ex-con panel. We'll have you, Strong Dad, Rudy, and we'll have the ex-con panel, right? To me, that's important. This is a view I've never even heard of. So why would I and this is another thing, Democrats, exploit black issues, whatever, for their own gain. But they never actually go in and talk to the people on the ground and say, how do you want to alleviate these problems? How do you see it fit? They just have this maternalistic viewpoint where I'm your guardian, so I'm going to think for you type situation. And I think that is the big problem, that people become so detached from the streets. And that was my thing with marketing, was I was always the guy that was attached to the streets, had my ear to the streets. Therefore, I knew how to make the next marketing campaign play. And they couldn't understand how I was able to do that. And I'm like, it's beyond these numbers on the screen.
Yeah, man, look, the facts are this. People are people. They're not numbers. People can be talked to, convinced they're doing some crazy, wild-ass shit, some real good shit, but you have to first start talking to people. You can't be talking to them analytics. Analytics serve their purpose. I'm not knocking them, but they're supplemental. They should never take precedence over everything. They shouldn't be the end-all, be-all. They are supplemental. You got to talk to people and then find a way how those analytics and what you learn from talking to people fit together. And then you have an effective strategy on how to market, how to campaign, how to do any of that shit. But that shit is supplemental. You have to be able to talk to people. And in the black community, in the places where they're trying to win, I'm not talking about the black community as a whole. I'm talking about in the places where they're trying to win, like a Baltimore, like places like Chicago. The facts are the most influential niggas on them streets. The place you're going to make the biggest inroads as far as convincing people and influencing shit is through the gang leaders, through the motherfucking what they quote unquote call dregs of society, because those cities have been run down to that degree. So even though these people are outlaws and all that other shit, that doesn't mean they don't hold just as much weight as a Joe the plumber. Shout out to him, rest in peace. They just come from different areas with different sets of circumstances. You know what I mean? Imagine if you could get GD niggas and vice lords, all their leadership, all saying, yo, going to the little G's talking about, yo, this is what we need to do as a collective because they looking out for us.
Yeah.
Them niggas ain't got cases yet. They can still vote.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The niggas that's playing ball in the thing talking about getting on the hood. Them niggas can vote when they get older. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you give men purpose, they don't think about crime. They don't have these lower thoughts once you give a man purpose. And that's what Democrats, they don't do. They actually remove all purpose for the black man in the neighborhood and then give him none. And then they give outsiders, people not from that community, access and purpose and importance, and power, right? Police officers. If you, like I said, if I was, city mayor, first day I go into office, I'm like, yo, let me bring the toughest gang member in here right now. Tell him I'm gonna pardon him on everything he ever fucking did. I need to talk with him. Be like, look, me and you about to fix this city. I got the upper class, you got the lower class. How you want to do this? It's that fucking simple. He gonna be like, oh, okay. You put it that way.
How entrenched was all them mob niggas in politics, bro?
Very entrenched.
You see what I'm saying? That's exactly what I'm saying. They act like just because they black faces that they just you can't be dealt with or whatever the fucking case may be.
Correct.
And while it is that a Democrat strip everybody of all hope in their electorate base, on the Republican side, they're scared to actually reach out and lose that power because theirs is race-based just as much, just on the other end of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
They fear that they may lose influence within the party.
Correct.
That's why they don't want niggas all up in there, especially niggas that are vying for niggas shit.
They ain't letting niggas in the party?
Nah, they ain't trying to let niggas in the party because we are a collective base of motherfucking thinkers. Yeah, we practice conservatism and we respect the fucking idea of the individual being the basis on which everything is built. But there's a collective base amongst niggas that has been decimated to some degree amongst the white populace, except for the elite. They still identify and know what the fuck they are. So when they see a group of people like niggas coming in, collectively trying to bargain for their collective group, they feel as if they will lose position within the party because their group has been decimated as far as having a collective mindset, and they know this.
Oh, this a real Hotep brother.
Big facts.
It's just they got to understand niggas ain't trying to come in there and take over the country. We just want what the fuck we got coming. That's it. Niggas ain't trying to run this. It's just one of those things, man. I don't know. But once that messaging gets out there correctly, then they got a shot at winning. Until then, I don't think so. And as a matter of fact, I'm not even going to go that far, bro. I just think all the systems of this whole country, this whole goddamn world are disintegrating. And they're disintegrating on purpose, like for a reason, because they're all fucking worthless anyway. We're sitting here trying to keep a fucking zombie at this point. Just let that nigga die. All right, I'm letting you back to the Grift, though.
One more question for you.
All right.
So you're definitively on Sonny Johnson's side of the thing. It's focus on the messaging, focus on the targeting, and are you sure that Kim Klacik is an insurgent?
I'm almost certain, bro. And nah, not even almost. I'm certain. You can't get on a nationally fucking publicized deal and sit there and admit wholeheartedly to a whole bunch of niggas that, yo, what I tell you ain't what I tell them, or what I tell them ain't what I tell you. And then when someone press you on the shit, you ain't got to answer for who you tell no goddamn body. You ain't got to answer for who you tell nobody. So either you way in over your motherfucking head, which means you need to sit out, or use a goddamn insurgent who just got caught, which means you need to sit the fuck out. Either way, there's no room for a Kim Klacik in this shit.
I don't know. I think Kim Klacik could end up being an insurgent via proxy, right? Like she might not know she is, because you know, like she said, you know, she's around all these donors, she's around campaign managers, and you know, all these GOP people and all of that. Like, she's in the swamp, right? So it's like it's only so much a single black mother of a beautiful daughter can do in such a swampy place. Now, I acknowledge what you said in regards to, you know, she giving two different messages, but I also give her points for the fact that she did tell us, like, look, I be telling these motherfuckers one thing and I be telling niggas another thing. I kind of got to give her props on that, no?
I don't think so. I don't think that now is not the time and or place. You hurt both sides of the equation when you do that. You fucking niggas up, which I resent you for. You fucking them up, which they should resent you for. All right? You're not being an honest dealer. If you want to be an honest dealer, stay the fuck out of politics then. Start reaching the hearts and minds of people on a different level.
But I play that game. I go to Fox News and I play a different game.
But your messaging never changes, HJ. Your messaging don't change. You just deliver it different for who your audience is. But it's always the same. It's always the same. I've seen you on Fox a number of occasions. I've heard you talk in white spaces a number of occasions.
Yeah.
Your messaging don't change. Your delivery does, as it should.
Yeah.
Because fucking approach dictates response.
Yeah.
But you just can't have two whole ass different messages, which she admitted to. She literally said, I can't talk to them the same way I would talk to niggas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not, I mean, like, she can't tell them the same things. That's different than saying, I'm over here saying, yo, what up, homie, versus how you doing, man? You're still greeting the motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, the approach is different, but you're still greeting the motherfucker, and the messaging has to stay the same, and it's not hard for conservatives. It's not hard because even your most stomped down, staunch communist liberal can still respect a certain level of conservatism. They still want it in their personal life. They may not want it for the world, but get to stepping on their rights, and you'll see just how fucking conservative they can get.
Right. Well, I agree with that.
It's not hard.
I agree with that. You got me. You know, my messaging is, you gonna get the same message, and I don't go fuck who it is. I'm gonna say the same thing. That is true. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
right.
I ain't gonna talk to you the same way I would talk to a Charlie Kirk.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I'm gonna tell y'all the same shit.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate your call, man.
No problem, man.
Hotep and Bill. Goldstein. We might have to crowdfund Goldstein a microphone. I might need a show we might have to do a show with Goldstein. We might have to build the Goldstein brand, and you know, I'm trying to step down, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be in front of this camera forever. We might have to fucking have Goldstein replace me and shit for some days. You know what I'm saying? Come him, he gonna be running the Grift Report. You know what I'm saying? I want to address something in the chat before we take the next caller. Sabir X said I should stop that in regards to, and Queen D says stay on code. You know, that's what Sabir X would do. That's what he would do, right? Like, he would not code switch and go on these platforms. And the truth of the matter is, he won't be back on those platforms. And people say things like, well, you have to compromise when you go on these platforms. And that is absolutely fucking true. That's why I get on these platforms, because they know Hotep Jesus is willing to play the game. And I am. But I think they also know my boundaries. I've drawn my boundaries very clear. If you want to see one of my boundaries get drawn very clear, you could go watch my interview with Alex Stein and Charleston White. I told both of them cats, y'all got to stop. And that wasn't entertainment. That was like, I feel very uncomfortable and we've drawn the line. I told Alex, you got to stop with all this gay shit. You got the black man on the ground looking crazy as hell, looking very transish. I told him it's Strong Dad June. They turned him into Rad Dad. I was like, all right, we're stepping up. That's cool. We got Rad Dad now. and he had the rainbow flags everywhere. Then I told Charleston White, I said, yo, you don't got to deal with this when you come here. Tell Alex stop it, and let's make some really good content, because they're both funny. Alex and Charleston White are very funny, but we don't got to do the whole, you know, rainbow flags and the shenanigans because Charleston White here and Charleston White's going to be a character. I'm like, Charleston, do not be a character in this play, in this gay play. If you're going to be on Alex Stein, and me and Alex had this conversation offline, we spoke, and he knows where I stand with him. He won the Grifties, you know what I mean? He's Grifter of the Year. We respect his hustle, but there's certain places that I draw my boundaries, and I think I make that very clear where I draw my boundaries. Also, I think I make it very clear that I will not disavow my loyalties. Everybody knows I will not disavow my loyalty to people like Tim Pool, Joe Rogan, and Alex Jones. People know this. It just reminds me, I think Pierce Morgan wanted me to be on his show tonight, and I totally forgot to respond. Anyway, that should just tell you like where I'm at. And it's no disrespect to Pierce Morgan. It's just that there's so many moving parts in my life right now, and I'm playing the video game of life. I'm trying to go for the high score, you know, and, you know, he said you could do better grifts than going on Dinosaur Media. I do better grifts than going on Dinosaur Media.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
I just told you. I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere. They ain't never there. The only place I'm not at is on leftist black media. That's the only place I'm not at. But I'm everywhere. I'm not going to turn down Dinosaur Media because, well, Gutfeld still gets 1.8 to 2 million viewers, no matter what you say. And you can say whatever you want about that demographic, but when I got on that airplane and that pilot looked up at me and said, "Oh shit, it's Hotep Jesus," the fact that high net value people understand who I am because that's Gutfeld's crew means a lot. And that's why I say some people, they look at my channel and they go, "Oh, your numbers are low." I'm like, yeah, the numbers is low up front, but in the back end, my audience is fucking paid out the ass. I have a very interesting audience, right? And that's what people don't understand. A lot of people in high places. No respect for Tim Pool after the Eliza Blue debacle, then turned around lying about what was said to him. See, I don't get into all them details. That's the thing, like, and that's part of playing the game, right? Like, you have all these players and all these actors, right? So you have one actor, his name's Hotep Jesus, another one's Tim Pool, another one's Eliza Blue. And what happens is everybody gets emotionally invested, like any of these people owe you something. None of us owe you a damn thing. The only reason why my audience is what it is because they know I give a fuck about them. And y'all got an issue figuring out who the fuck gives a fuck about you and who doesn't. And that's a you problem. That's a you problem. That's not a them problem. You got to understand which one of these content creators really gives a fuck about you. And when you get better at that, you'll no longer have this emotional connection because you'll choose better who to have emotional connections with, and you won't be disappointed when things happen on your screen. Like I had Thaddeus Russell. He came on my platform previously and he spoke about Eliza Blue. And he was like, I told you Eliza Blue was a grifter. That's exactly what he said to me. But I'm thinking in my head, like, and like, I know you told me. I didn't give a fuck. All you motherfuckers is grifters.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
That's why we got the grifties.com.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Hotep Jesus? Oh, this a real Hotep brother.
All you motherfuckers is grifters. I don't really differentiate too much. You know what I differentiate based upon? How much skin you got in the Hotep game? How much have you done for Hotep Nation, the brand Hotep Nation, a nonprofit supporting homeschooling? How much have you put behind Uncle Hotep? How much have you put behind Canon Hotep? How much have you put behind Hotep Jesus? Why are y'all calling when I'm talking? That's very rude. I will cut these fucking phone lines off. Please don't be rude. The fuck? But who has equity in Hotep Nation? That's who I give a fuck about. Taylor has equity in Hotep Nation. Jason and Jabari have equity in Hotep Nation. Carlos Africa in the chat has equity in Hotep Nation. But like, when y'all get on the internet and y'all start arguing about some white bitch who had her ass out on the internet, I'm just like, what is this? The white shade room?
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
I don't get involved in no conversations like that. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing? And then y'all come in the chat like, oh my God, like the fact that you know all of the details of the Eliza Blue story is really worrisome for me. You know, I read one thing, and I read the Shane Cashman Part 2 interview of Eliza Blue, and only because my name was in it. So I read it because my name was in it. Like, and that's why I say, like, Thad's telling me he told me she was a grifter. But meanwhile, I just got published in some fucking story. This is coming back to I'm everywhere, you ain't never there.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
And I didn't say a thing about that whole fiasco, but my name is published in her final interview with Shane Cashman of Timcast Pool, and I didn't do shit. I didn't do shit but mind my business. This is the power of minding your business. But Mop Deep said facts. Those conversations don't move the needle. They don't. They don't. None of these conversations move the needle. Oh, this grifter is arguing with this grifter and expose this grifter. And it's like, all right, what's the next subject? Can we talk about inflation? Can we talk about Federal Reserve banking? Can we get into the big tech report? I'm sorry about today's Grift Report. It got pushed back because of Sunny Spaces. So I really just I thought this space was going so wonderful. Kim Clasley had got added to the thing. I knew I was going to get my grift on and, sort of position myself as a moderator. But again, creating some, static controversy, but also alleviating it, right? Like you can't throw gas on the fire between Sunny and Kim and not alleviate some of it, right? But, we got to create content, but more importantly, we got to draw the facts out of the arguments. Let's get the real arguments out. And these two ladies need to have these conversations. And my hat goes off to Kim because she actually fucking shows up. She shows up. You could say whatever you want about Kim, but Kim shows the fuck up. She's not running from Sunny. Why is Kim not the only one running from Sunny? Why is Kim the only one not running from Sunny? Vivek ran. Vivek's team ran. Candace ran multiple times. Why Candace can't sit in the fire of Sonny Johnson? Kim does it, and that's why I will always respect Kim, because Kim sits down, takes the ass whooping, takes the bias, cutting her mic off and muting her, still there. Still fucking there. Like, and what, motherfucker? Her attitude's like, and what? I'm gonna be here. You motherfuckers ain't running me off. You don't scare me. I love that. I fucking love that. And for that, she will always get my respect. She always be a queen in my eyes. And you can say what you want. There's a lot of flaws with everybody, did she operate her campaign perfectly? No, it's her first campaign. Nobody expected her to, But yeah. So going back to my point about what Sabir X, which is a great point. Thank you, Sabir, for watching. First of all, you got equity in the game because you're watching the Hotep Jesus Grift Report. But about like code switching on these platforms, my lady calls me a chameleon. She said, "You're a chameleon. You can go anywhere and you just change up." And you know what? She's fucking right. She's fucking right. I am a fucking chameleon. I change up like I'm a fucking shapeshifter, except my eyes don't blink like some lizard shit. But that's a skill. That is a skill that I'm able to move into so many different rooms. Like right now, I'm about to move into a whole nother room. At 5 p.m., I'll be live on Around the Blockchain. At 5 p.m. Eastern Time, in about 8 minutes, I'll be on Around the Blockchain. I'm going to log in about 3 minutes, cutting the phone calls off because you motherfuckers was interrupting me and shit. You know what I'm saying? But I'm about to move into another space. We're about to talk money and crypto. I'm not one person. You cannot pigeonhole me into just talking about black conversations. You're going to have to include me in economic conversations. You're going to have to include me in financial conversations. And I know how the message needs to be delivered on all these different platforms. You can't talk to a woman. Here's the issue. Y'all talk. This is why some of y'all can't get women. Because some of y'all talk to women the same way you talk to your homeboys. This is why some of y'all can't get women, because you talk to women, you're approaching them like you would talk to anybody. When I approach a woman, my whole voice changes up. My speech slows down and my voice gets deeper. I'd love to do it right now, but I would need to like vision a female. Let's say I'll show you a good one. You want good practice? You want good like practice? You got to learn how to hit on the lady at the front desk at the hotel, whether she's beautiful or not. I usually just practice that. My thing is I love just making a woman smile. So when I usually like go into, a hotel room, a hotel lobby and about to check in, put a smile on her face. Make a smile. Can y'all put a smile on somebody's face? Practice that. Practice that. Carlos Africa said, learn the code switch. Absolutely. But, am I a chameleon? Yeah, because I know what color to be when I enter that room. And that's why I'm still the only one that sold reparations to white people.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Still the only black man, only black conservative to bring the reparations conversation to white people and make them go, okay, I support reparations.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Still the only black man on the planet to do it. Like Goldstein said, messaging don't change. Only thing that changes is my approach. It's the Grift Report, man. I'll be back here tomorrow, 2 p.m., man. Be good. Be love. I got a lot in the bag we didn't get to today, so we gonna get it. We got a couple of things in the big tech bag. What up, Lizette? Appreciate you and the love and all that. Lizette got equity in the game. Strawberry Phil's got equity in the game. Hotep Goldstein got equity in the game. Talking about Hotep Nation now. Retro Neon got a dollar. He put up $1. He said, Goldstein for president. I want the VP spot. Fuego Di Bacerello put $2 in the pot. He said, Goldstein's on the Grifties board. Welcome to the show. Good luck on Rookie of the Year. Word. Queen D says, stay real, HJ. I'm always stay real. You might see me switch up in these rooms, but again, the message is never going to say, I'm going to be the nigga I am. You know why? Because I got a built-in trigger. This is the last thing I'm going to say. I got a built-in trigger, and like when you hit my boundaries, like my trigger just goes on and I become Ali Shakur again, and it just gets really crazy. So yeah, this is what we're going to do. We are going to go to Around the Blockchain. There's a YouTube channel right here. I want y'all to come in. You don't have to stay the whole time, but we're starting in about 4 minutes. I want you to go into the chat, raid the chat with Hotep. Just type Hotep and raid the chat and just fucking flex over there and show them the power of Hotep Nation. It's called Around the Blockchain. I think it's ATB Daily. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see. Around, here we go. I might be able to divert it, or I might not be able to. Here it is right here, Around the Blockchain. Around the Blockchain. All right. I'm gonna give y'all the link right there. Meet me over there. I'm gonna be there. I'm about to set my shit up right now. I'm about to log in the room. I'm late. I'll let y'all later, man. Hotep and Bill.